do. All I wanna do is be right there for you. Be right next to you. Wait a minute.
Welcome to Paddlefest, a celebration of paddling, play, and community out on the water. This event wouldn't be possible without the amazing support of our sponsors and partners. We would like to honor our beneficiaries, the Outside Foundation and the Island Recreation Center, whose important work inspires us and will receive the proceeds from this event. We also thank our hosts, the dedicated team who charted the course and brought Paddlefest to life. Dr. John Batson, Spine and Sports Medicine, the Outside Foundation, the Island Recreation Center, the Town of Hilton Head, and Outside Brands. We're grateful to our financial sponsors, whose generous support provides the strong current that keeps this event moving forward. 3T MRI Belfair, Benchmark Physical Therapy, Coastal States Bank, Elite Physical Therapy, the Lowcountry Group with England Volkers Real Estate Hilton Head, Hilton Head Properties, Neurosurgical and Spine Institute, Optum Orthopedic, OsteoStrong, Ted Neely, The Boathouse, The Greenery, The Zone, Boss Orthopedics, the family of Peter Viro, Hilton Head Properties Realty and Rentals, Herman and Davis Properties, Collins Group Realty, and Signature Catering. And we are incredibly grateful to our in-kind sponsors who shared their services, skills, and gifts to make this day unforgettable. Bluffton Paddle Club, Dragon Boat of Beaufort, USA Stand-Up Paddleboard, Hilton Head Island Coffee Roasters, Sea Pines Resort, Rollers Wine and Spirits, Outside Brands, Iron Fish Art, Sweet Pea Fishing, Julie Jones Art, The Surge Group, Benny's Coastal Kitchen, Hilton Head Running Company, Flying Fish Board Company, and Green Earth Off-Grid Audio. Our sponsors make it possible for everyone to get out on the water and paddle and play. We're building community, making water sports more accessible, and having a great time together. Enjoy Paddlefest!
Olukai shoes bring the comfort of walking barefoot on wet sand to any journey. Because we don't travel to go further, we travel to get closer. And no matter how far we go, we can always bring the aloha with us. Any moment can feel like you're stepping into the spirit of Hawaii. Say aloha to Olukai. Anywhere comfort, anywhere aloha.
I trace my steps back to then. Oh, I want that feeling. It's all that I needed to move on, to feel it. It's all that I needed. a little less 25, a little less. Searching for the moment, I'm a little less 20, a little less 25.
And you're from the Hilton Head Island Parks?
Island Recreation.
Island Recreation.
Is go 1 to 2.
This is going to be a bit hard.
Yes.
Bring it down.
Do I need to?
All right, good morning from the Olukai. Lowcountry Paddlefest, Day 2, distance. We just had the kickoff of the OC6 Outriggers. We have 2 teams out there. They're going to battle on this, I believe, 11-mile course for the sit-down crafts. I am John Moskowskis, owner and founder of Flying Fish Board Company. And with me today is Kat from the Outside Island Recreation Center. Sorry. So Kat's going to be joining me today. We're going to try to give you guys this action. We're going to be following it on the live stream on YouTube. So if you're out there, text your friends. Let them know to look it up on the Outside Foundation YouTube channel. And they can follow along with the action as well. It looks like our next wave is going to be the rest of the sit-down craft. No, maybe surf skis. My apologies if I'm not in tune. Once we get these guys off and started, we're going to hear from Kat, and she can tell us a little bit about the Island Recreation Center and the role they've played in this event. But we are waiting for the kickoff of the surf skis and outrigger. We've got some tandem surf skis, tandem outriggers. Primarily, though, that's it. 2s and singles. And they're off. The sit-down paddlers are also doing the Pickery Island. Am I pronouncing that right? Pickney Island, 11-mile course. So, all right, Kat, why don't you fill us in a little bit on the Island Rec Center and their role in the event. We've got a little bit of time now before the stand-ups will start.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. So here at the Rowing and Sailing Center, this is the activity hub for our outdoor recreation department. And in this facility, we do kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, fishing. We also host summer camps for kids that are an excellent way to get your kids out into this environment. And we run after-school programs every Monday and Tuesday afternoon out here, teaching these kids about the beauty of our Lowcountry area.
Oh, that's such an amazing, the Hilton Head is all about the water, right? So it's really awesome to see so many people locally kayaking, paddleboarding, fishing, etc. So you guys obviously play a huge role in that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited to hold the Paddlefest portion here today along with the Lowcountry Paddlefest in order to help get more of our community out on the water, experiencing kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, dragon boats, and everything that we're offering here today.
Yeah, that's awesome. And of course, a big shout out to Outside Hilton Head and John Badson and his crew, because without those guys, this would not be the event it is today. I believe this is maybe the 7th year. John can, yeah, 7th year. I've been at all of them. So there you go. I get that award. But no, it's just been so much fun watching this event grow year after year, drawing in more and more paddlers from outside the region. And I know John's very passionate about paddling and water sports and kids and all that. So it's great. It's great to see, and I hope we continue to grow it. You know, it's really awesome they have the spectator boat.
Oh yeah, the Ohana is amazing.
Yeah, that's
Great
a
way to be on the water and see everything up close and personal.
Yeah, that's a really cool added benefit to this race. So I believe it was a $50 ticket, and you get on the spectator boat, because a lot of times on these distance races, you know, it can get a little bit monotonous as you're waiting for everyone to come back. You know, it's not like yesterday's sprints where it was all right here at the dock. So the Ohana spectator boat next year, let's fill that thing up. I'm going to talk a little bit about the race coming up here in the 10K division. We'll start with the females. Obviously, we have Seychelle Webster here. I know she was disappointed in yesterday's sprint performance. She fell at the line, which is very unlike her. So she's going to be out for revenge. And Maddie LeBlanc out of Canada is also going to be a strong contender in the female division. I know that Meredith Stewart is here from Costa Rica, and Caitlin Chen, and so there's going to be a lot of the paddlers that we saw do well in the sprints are going to be out there on the distance, giving it their all. So that's probably going to be some of your top ladies, and I could be missing someone. I know Stephanie Schidler was supposed to be here, but she's dealing with some ailments that she just couldn't make it. So anyway, in the men's division, it's going to be a battle. Jake Portwood is the current champ. He's been pretty much unbeatable the last few years here, but you can't count out Campbell Carter, Steve Miller, Blake Carmichael, Cameron Carney from Canada. I think it's going to be those 5 guys battling it out. I know these guys all really well, and you're going to see probably a 5-board draft train for quite a while. So it's going to be fun to watch. We're going to kind of fill Kat in on the action so she can learn a little more about stand-up racing. And there's definitely going to be some strategy involved. There are a few buoy turns on the course. There's going to be drafting. Somebody may try to break away. We just had a race in Detroit recently where Campbell Carter decided to try to pull out on his own at the front, and then at the end of the race, the draft pack was able to reel him in and catch him, and I believe he ended up second. But anyway, so there's definitely going to be some strategy out there today. These guys should be kicking off, getting on the water here soon. Is there anything you want to add, Kat?
Yeah, so as a paddler's point of view, I'm not a racer, but I've grown up in these waters, and the race that goes around Pickney Island seems like a big challenge to us because you're dealing with multiple different bodies of water where currents and tides fluctuate and change on a regular basis. And one of the things about Skull Creek that's always been a question for me is where does the tide change? Because we have the Port Royal Sound on one end and the Calabogie Sound on the other, and there's some point in the middle where the tide has to switch.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, the reading water, and on their screen now, you can see all these outriggers and surf skis, you know, as they head in up Skull Creek. I believe that's they're heading up.
Yep, they're heading up.
So that crew right now, you can see are pretty tight. It looked like there was a couple tandem surf skis out front and some single surf skis, which totally makes sense The surf ski is a slightly faster vessel than an OC1. So not saying, obviously in yesterday's sprints we saw OC1 finish first, but typically in these events you're going to see the surf skis ahead as your top finishers. It's just a little bit faster craft. They have a double bladed paddle. It's a kayak, where the outrigger is a canoe, and it's more similar to stand-up where you have single bladed paddle, paddling on one side at a time, obviously. You do have a longer craft. Most of the OC1s are going to range between 19 and 21 feet, maybe, somewhere in that range. So, there's a good view of some surf skis on the screen now. It's too hard for us to tell who's who on these drone shots, but we can definitely see there's an outrigger coming up behind those 3 surf skis. So anyway, like you said earlier, it definitely plays a huge role on reading the water, taking the best line. There's about a 7-foot tide swing here, 6 or 7 foot.
It depends on the phases of the moon, which we actually do have a full moon coming up tomorrow, which means we generally get higher highs and lower lows.
Yeah, so it's gonna play a role for sure. A local knowledge might pay off for somebody, but obviously finding the water that's gonna be the fastest, where you're fighting the least amount of current or riding the most amount of current. I don't think drafting plays too much of a role in these outriggers. I know they do draft each other some, but I think we're gonna see it more so in the stand-up race. But again, we have a nice look at some surf skis on the screen. This is great drone footage. Compared to last year, we had some rain and wind, and it was really tough for the drone pilot. So today, I think we're going to be able to get some, look at that great footage of them flying in. You can see some tandem outriggers, OC2s, basically, 2-seater. Maybe we can even fly up to the OC6 teams. That looks like your lead 2 surf skis right there. So that kind of puts that in perspective. They're dealing with a little bit of boat wake. That's the other thing that's going to play a factor. It's a beautiful Saturday in Hilton Head, so I would expect quite a few people to be out on their boats today, enjoying the bay and the creeks. So boat wake's going to play a factor, and reading water. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
So we're heading out into a low tide now. High tide was at 8 a.m. this morning, and low tide is going to be today at 2 o'clock, and we're getting a tidal range of about 8 feet altogether today.
Okay, that's a big swing in tide. So that full moon is definitely going to play a factor. Wow, okay. Yeah, and it's going to help having you on the mic, Kat, to just kind of let us know where these paddlers are. I'm not too familiar with the local water, but I know they're starting up Skull Creek now. Where do they go from Skull Creek?
So from Skull Creek, they're going to go underneath the bridges that lead off the island, going around to the tip of Pickney Island. So it's a little bit of the Calabogie Sound, but essentially they're going to be turning around, and then Mackey's Creek is on the far side of Pickney. And then another very challenging portion for paddling is once they get through Mackey's Creek on the north side of Pickney, or technically the east side, they're going to be going into the Port Royal Sound. And that's a challenge because the Port Royal Sound, as Mackey's Creek comes out, that's one channel that, depending on everything's going to be going out at the moment. And then they're going to have to come around the point of Pickney facing that outgoing tide as they come back into Skull Creek here.
Okay, so that's going to probably be the biggest challenge is like you said earlier, reading the water once you come around that island and deciding your line. It's not just current, it can also be the depth of the water. So, deeper water's typically faster, but, shallower water is going to be near the edges of the eddies and whatnot. So reading the water, having some local knowledge, like John Batson had mentioned in the racers meeting, staying close to the grass, but not too close to the grass because we know that's where the oyster beds are. So you're going to, it's going to play a huge role for sure in all the races, stand-ups and the sit-downs. So you can kind of see the bridge there, slightly to the right of the screen. That's the bridge heading off the island?
That is the bridge heading off the island,
Okay.
connecting Pickney Island to Hilton Head Island.
Okay. Gotcha. So
Yeah, they're going to be able to take advantage of this high tide right now as they go through the west side of Pinckney Island. They'll be able to cut across some of the areas that would normally be marked off by the low tide. But as they get to that east side of Pinckney, there is a massive sandbar that you have to take a long way around in order to get through.
Okay, now we can't see this on the screen because you guys are looking at us, and I don't think we have coverage of it yet, but I see the OC6s over here to the right or the left of us. Can you give us a little breakdown on these OC6s? Because we haven't had much coverage of them yet. So they're coming up, you can see on the screen, they're coming up to the bridge. So the bridge must be, oh, wait, hold on. How's the OC6s here? I am so confused. Okay. Okay, so the OC6s had a different course. There you go. That's my confusion is fixed. I was totally like, how are these guys back here?
It makes sense because the channel out here where our surf skis and outriggers went has a very sharp left turn into it, and
Okay.
it runs a little more shallow. So the OC6s might have had to go further down in order to make that turn.
Make a wider turn. Maybe they had to go around a separate island or something. So my apologies earlier when I said that the OC6s were on the same course. They actually have their own course, so these two boats are battling it out. I'm not sure. Do we know where these boats are from? So typically these OC6 clubs represent a town or a club, obviously. So do we know what clubs we have out there? Charleston Paddle Club is in the blue boat. Both Charleston Paddle Club. Awesome. So this is a battle. These guys probably race each other a lot, so it's going to be fun to watch. You can see on our screen we have a lot of our paddlers getting loose, getting ready. We got a couple prone paddlers on the screen if they want to give us a wave out there. I don't know if they can hear us, but on the right of your screen, a couple prone paddle boards. If you're not familiar with a prone paddle board, it's basically your hands are the paddle. So these guys will be laid down. There you go, giving us a wave. So we've got a couple prone guys out there. Basically, they're going to spend time primarily on their stomach. If they want to do a little sprint, they'll jump up to their knees. It's traditional paddleboarding. It's been around forever, big in the lifeguard world. So we have some prone paddleboarders out there. And obviously, we have our stand-ups warming up as well. So there's a little wider shot of everyone sort of just getting loose. I believe we still have about 15 minutes for kickoff for the stand-up race. So
Looks like the OC6s are just off to our left.
yeah, we just had the OC6ers. Now they're approaching the bridge, heading in around the island. Let's see what.
So we just applied for a grant in order to get some adaptive, accessible paddle boards and surfboards over at the Island Recreation Center.
Oh, nice.
And maybe next year, after all of the races, today we're having our kids paddle challenge. We'll be able to have accessibility to everybody to come out and try a paddle.
Yeah, that would be amazing, and I'd actually like to see some ideas or talk to people because maybe it's something that we could even help build an adaptive craft. It's huge, there's a lot of athletes with different disabilities that still want to get on the water. And so anything you can do to get people on the water and fit their needs, that's amazing. So
The water can be healing for so many people. I mean, obviously all of us here have a love for it and it brings us joy. So it's good to spread that to everybody else.
Yeah, mentally and physically being on the water is just, there's no words for how helpful it is and how much recovery and just mentally and physically it's good for you. Okay, let's see what we have here. We still have our prone paddlers on the screen. Maybe I don't know if John Badson is too busy, but if John's around and wants to say a few words, we can get him on here. We're going to try to get some guests to join us periodically throughout the live feed here. Maybe we can get Mike on here from outside Hilton Head. They had the registration party was last night at the store. That went great. We had some free beer and food, and it was a great time. This is such a well-run event. We can see more of our stand-up paddleboarders out there just warming up. These guys are chomping at the bit. They're right about now, their heart rates are starting to get a little anxious, and they just want to get started, I'm sure. Weather is not going to play a factor, I don't believe, today, right, Kat?
We have the most beautiful weather today. We are so fortunate that the winds are going to stay low and we've got the sun shining, because there's been a couple years where it's been a little touch and go with all the rain and the wind.
Absolutely. I remember being at this race being very cold some years. So this is perfect weather. Absolutely perfect weather. Yesterday we had the sprints. If you guys missed it, you can go back and watch that on YouTube. That was a great event. We had Jake Portwood as the champion in the male division and Maddie LeBlanc as the champion in the female division for the Open. All age groups had very tight heats. It was really fun to watch, honestly. Like, I can't even tell you how many spots were within, tenths of a second. So that was really exciting to watch. So if you get an opportunity, go back to YouTube and watch that.
John, do you know how many racers we have registered today?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head. I know there's well over 100 paddlers out here, so I'm not sure the final numbers. Maybe Jake Babson is around.
I'm here.
Jake Babson,
Yes.
a.k.a. John Badson.
Yeah.
Can you join us for a few minutes while we have just give us a little bit of a rundown of the event and just anything you want to talk about?
Well, first of all, thank you two for helping us out with the live stream, and Joel with his team with Fire Tower Media. I think things like this really help get the word out about our sport. And if some of the viewers are noticing, we're actually having some commercials in there with some of the sponsors. And so things like that really are getting us a little bit more official in the world of sports out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without a live feed of this quality, it's hard to grow it without people being able to see it from the outside and then maybe watching it on YouTube and going, man, I got to go to that next year. Like, that's a great event. So, yeah, huge shout out to the video team and everyone. So it's amazing to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity. How many racers did we have registered? You want to give us a breakdown?
Yeah, we had our final number was about 170 registered. I think we ended up getting 160 on the water. So good number for this year. A little bit more last year. Definitely was nice having USA Sup Nationals here. That brought in some folks from elsewhere that may not have just made the drive. But this year we got some folks from Montana and Chicago and California. So
yeah, I've seen. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ohio. I mean, there's people from everywhere. So it's been great to see. So what's going to be the next race that kicks off? You want to give us a breakdown of what's coming up?
Basically, the endurance course just went out. They're circling Pinckney Island, National Refuge. And now we got our stand-up paddle, prone, and then the 5K that kind of anything goes.
Okay. Are they taking off together?
They are separate.
They're separate.
5K and 10K are separate.
5K first?
10K first.
10K first. Okay, yeah. So we'll get the 10K out of the gate next in approximately 8 minutes or so. Anything else you want to add? Like anybody you want to thank or?
Well, yeah. I think our big thing here is we're ultimately trying to bring awareness to getting kids out, learning about the environment. Our primary program with the Outside Foundation is Kids in Kayaks.
Yeah.
And last year we got almost 1,500 kids that are in their middle school years in a kayak learning about our local waterways. So pretty cool.
Yeah, that's an amazing task, honestly, to get that many kids out on the water. And they're all going to make an impact. Somebody's going to latch on and be a paddler for life, I can assure you. So it happened to you. It happened
Absolutely.
to me.
Right.
So it's going to happen to these kids. So that's a great opportunity. And it's all due to this event. So
similar story with a lot of these paddlers. You just something kicks and you clicks the right way, and all of a sudden you love being outside, you love the sport, and a lot of like-minded people out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that kind of just reminds me, if you have friends, just keep telling them, hey, you really got to get out on the water with me sometime, because I feel like there's so many people, if they would just give it a chance, they'll really understand how therapeutic it can be. And
even yesterday, just having the 100-meter sprints,
Yeah.
I said a few times leading up to this, anyone can paddle 100 meters. So
yeah, and we saw it like Boo did. It was
Yep.
his first time racing. We kind of talked about that. He did awesome.
yeah, he did great.
Like, I mean, he's obviously a very fit man, and he's in great shape and all this, but he paddled like a pro.
Yeah, he
Like,
did
he
great.
really did great. So it was fun to watch. Yeah, I see paddlers out here from everywhere. I really do.
I'll step away, but I'll try to come
yeah.
back. And
Thanks,
you
John.
guys.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And that's Jake Babson. It's a little inside joke, but no, John Batson's awesome. He's a very close friend of mine, and yeah, I'm excited to be part of this year in and year out. So, wow, that was a great little interview. Anything you want to add that he talked about, or?
Yeah, so we have a schedule posted on the Lowcountry Paddlefest, at least our Facebook page. But so these races are going to go on until maybe 12 or 1 o'clock. And after that, we are having the rest of the Paddlefest where we're getting the community involved. So at 2 o'clock, we have a kids paddle challenge. And it's really an opportunity to get kids out on the water. We're offering them stand-up paddle boards, single kayaks, double kayaks, surf yaks, anything to get them out on the water. And they're going to check it out. And then we have 2 dragon boats. We have the Bluffton Paddle Club and Dragon Boat of Beaufort here, where anybody from the public can get into the dragon boat and race with a professional on a dragon boat.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's a great community type building thing, the dragon boats. I was actually here just a couple months ago doing a demo with John, and it was at one of the dragon boat practices, and it was really fun to see everyone get together, and it's a definite team camaraderie thing. So if you're interested in that kind of thing and you know a friend, get them out in the boat, come out this afternoon, tell your friends, demo some kayaks. You can demo some flying fish paddle boards. We've got a bunch of demo boards out here, so feel free to ask me any questions you guys have, flag me down later. But this year it's a true paddle fest. It's going to be amazing. And huge thank you to Island Recreation Center. All right, it looks like these guys are lining up. We're going to start with the 10K. Let's see who we see here on the screen, if I can tell. Got everybody getting loose. Everyone's still sitting, so they still have about 5 minutes before the nerves are really going to start kicking in. I see Maddie LeBlanc on the screen and Meredith Stewart, it looks like, out there.
I don't know if they're anxious, but they're definitely moving around trying to find their right spot for the takeoff.
Yeah, there's definitely some strategy being played right now, especially from the top paddlers. They know who they want to start next to. The last thing you want to do is miss the original draft train. So if you have to fight from the back and catch up to the draft train, that takes a extreme amount of energy, and so it's not the way you want to start your race. You really want to have a clean start and find your draft train. If I'm correct, I didn't pay attention during the racers meeting, I apologize, but I believe it's open drafting, which means women can draft males and males can draft females, and so it's open drafting, which really does play a big role, especially in the women's race, because a lot of these top women are as fast as the top guys, so they can stay, on the draft. So
For those watching that may not know, can you explain what drafting is, please?
yeah, so basically it's like bike racing or any other sort of racing where you have a craft. The paddlers will get into a single file line. There's actually multiple ways to draft, but the most common is a single file line, and the effort level at the front of the draft train is the highest. The effort level as you go back in the draft train, those paddlers are conserving energy. So they're riding the boat or the wake or board wake of the board in front of them, if that makes sense. So typically in racing, you're going to see guys trade off draft trains. They'll communicate out there. We'll talk about that as the race is going on. But they're talking. One guy will draft, maybe pull for a mile, and then the next guy will pull for a mile, etc. But we'll see. There is some dynamic in paddleboard racing because, there are teams basically, and it's usually based off board brands. So right now, in that top 5 guys, it's 4 guys on a flying fish, and Campbell's on his Infinity. So, and Campbell knows it. He knows he's got a team against him. But, there's going to be some strategy in it for sure. But we'll talk about the drafting more as the race goes on. But it's basically just a way to efficiently paddle. Race smart. I tell my guys all the time, just race smart. Give it everything you have out there in the water, but race smart. Don't make any bad decisions, because that's the only thing you're gonna regret later. If you don't win, but you race clean, you lost. But if you don't win and you made a mistake, it eats at you for the rest of the night. So.
I think that goes to say a lot about what this sport is all about. A lot of camaraderie in the challenge in itself, and that's amazing that they're competing against each other but also working together. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. And off the water, everybody's friends, which is amazing. So we're within 2 minutes of start time, it looks like. So these guys are really getting lined up. We have an incredible women race. I mean, the amount of women registered for this race, hats off to you girls. You guys crush it. Awesome amount of registrations from the ladies. You can see it on screen right there. Look at that beautiful drone shot of all the boards. You'll see some people lined up in the second row. Those are, paddlers that obviously are racing and they want to get after it, but they're also like, hey, I know my role. I know where I'm at. I don't want to get in the middle of this mess, because you'll see when it takes off, guys like Jake Portwood put down so much power at the start that they can knock you right off your board. So I never liked starting next to Jake. But anyway, we're going to see it here kicking off within a minute. So
what's also wonderful is anybody can register for this race. We have a lot of local people out here who are not professional racers, but they enjoy stand-up paddleboarding. And right now they're about to compete against the best in the world. And that's just phenomenal. When do you ever really get that opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best thing about our sport is anybody can compete, and you get to race against the pros, which we are kicking off any second now. I can hear the heartbeats from here. Heart rates are already increasing. We have a great split screen here live on YouTube. And they're off. All right, looks from here it's been a clean start. I'm not seeing too much chaos anywhere. As expected, it looks like Jake and Campbell out to the front. They're going to be your pace setters for the day. They're probably the 2 favorites. Like I said earlier, Steve Miller's going to be in that mix. He's racing in the 50-plus division, so he's in the race, but he's got his own division. So wow, look at that shot, Kat. That is a beautiful shot right there. So there's those 5 guys, 5 wide that we talked about. See if we can pick up. It looks like that might be Seychelles right there in the center of your screen. Maybe, let me just see if I can. Yeah, Seychelles looks like she's at the top of your screen, and maybe that's Maddie LeBlanc on the draft. So 5 guys, Seychelles and Maddie right there on your screen. It was good to have a clean start, because you don't really want to see somebody fall. It happens, but you don't want to see it. So
Does it create a semi-pile-up if somebody falls?
it can, for sure. Usually the lead guys are out of the gate, so it's not going to affect them, but it'll affect everyone behind them. What you're seeing now actually is drafting, believe it or not. So you're seeing at this point a lot of side drafting. So the board throws a wake off the side. So on the screen right now, you can see Seychelles. She's trying to get a little bit further up on Steve because she's not quite on his side draft. You have to have your nose in just the right position in order to side draft. There's a great shot of the rest of the pack. You can see the textured water on the screen. The second wave of paddlers always has to deal with the most chaos. But all in all, it looked like a very clean start. So. Yeah, there's something on the screen that we can't see. All right, there's a great shot of the pack. Wow. Side-by-side drafting, 6 boards wide. You can see a single draft train created off of maybe that's Steve Miller, or I'm not sure who they're. Maybe it looks like Jake Portwood, actually. Cameron Carney looks like he's maybe pulling out the front. Everyone's side drafting right here. That is an amazing footage right here. This is about as good as you can get. Props to the drone team, because that is an amazing shot. You don't get to see this often on live broadcasts. 6 boards wide. Everyone is side drafting. The person right now who's fighting the most, believe it or not, is Maddie LeBlanc. She's on that rear draft. She's the one there. That's a good shot of her on the back of Steve Miller, I believe. She's probably getting the least amount of pull because she's also dealing with a lot of chop and chaos. This takes a lot of practice. You can see right now Cameron Carney has got a nose lead out. Campbell is riding his wake, and Jake is working his way up. Or no, I'm sorry, it's Blake Carmichael on the outside is working his way up to Cam to try to get on that draft. If you fall off the side draft, it can get really difficult to get back on. So then you might see paddlers fall in behind each other and then create more of a single draft line, like you see here. Actually, I'm looking at the wrong camera. I'm sorry. You'll see it when we go back to camera 4. There you go. You see that little bit of draft train forming on the right-hand side of the screen. So there we go. There's your shot. So see how there's a single draft train forming behind Maddie. And so, it's early in the race. They're within the first mile. You're going to see a lot of it break up. I can't quite tell who that is leading. It might be, if I had to guess, it might be Eric Carter, maybe. Yeah, it looks like Eric's board, and then behind him is a flying fish. I'm just not sure who. Maybe, I don't know, Billy McCracken maybe. But anyway, you're going to see that pack is going to fall off of this lead pack. Maddie LeBlanc right now just needs to hang on. She needs to hold on to Seychelles. She can't let Seychelles get pulled away with these guys. If she does, her race is going to be over pretty early because it's just too hard to make up the ground, especially against an athlete like Seychelles. Seychelles is so strong. She's a world champion. We all know her. And like we talked about from yesterday, she wants some revenge on the sprints. So that's a great shot. I can't even tell you guys enough. You're getting to see this drone footage. What do you think, Kat? Is it what you expected you'd see?
I mean, it looks beautiful. I've seen my fair share of paddleboard races thanks to this event going on for 7 years, but these shots are really lovely today, especially with the water being so almost glassy.
Yeah.
As well, so getting these upper views are great.
Yeah, and you can really see the wakes of the boards and how they form and the efficiency of the paddlers and the techniques. I mean, right here you're seeing on screen 7 people with beautiful technique, right? So if you're watching this on YouTube, these are the paddlers you want to emulate.
Absolutely. As a stand-up paddleboard instructor myself, watching the proper form of people on their paddleboards is amazing. A lot of people come into paddleboarding thinking that it's all about their arms, when honestly it's your abdominals and your thighs because you're keeping your balance, but then you are using those arms as well. So it's a really dynamic workout that uses your entire body. Yeah,
100%. It's a total movement. It's head to toes kind of thing, and it's a connection between hips and legs and arms. Your arms actually are just an extension of the paddle. It's a lever to drive the paddle. And we'll talk about paddle technique, I'm sure, more at some point in this race. That shot on the screen, I'm just blown away at this footage. Amazing drone work. All 6 of these guys or 5 guys in Seychelles are all in that V formation still. If I were Maddie LeBlanc, you can see Seychelles off to the right by herself. Maddie needs to really fight and get in behind Seychelles' tail at this point. If she falls back another board length or 2, it's just going to get harder and harder. So right now these guys have the current with them. So you're going to see some top speeds, 7 miles an hour or higher with these guys. Once they turn the corner, they're going to be fighting to get 6 miles an hour. So Let's see, how many minutes? We're about 3 minutes away from the 5K start. There's a great drone footage of all the other paddlers. You can see all the draft lines forming. And listen, this race isn't just about those lead 5 guys. Within this pack of 100-plus paddlers, there are so many little micro battles going on. People that know each other, race each other every week. And so believe me, there is so many battles going on between all these paddlers. That's what makes the sport great, honestly. Like, obviously, we're going to focus a lot on the winners and the open pro paddlers and all this, but in all these other paddlers, there's a lot on the line. So, bragging rights. There might be some beers being bet. Who knows? All right, there's the 5K starters on the line getting ready.
I saw a 5K team out there. It looks like there's a little person out there with them. Maybe our youngest paddler yet.
Yeah, let's see. Who do we have out here? Do we have any kids on boards? Or I see some. It's awesome craft because it's open to everybody. So I see some ocean kayaks, some touring kayaks. I see some surf skis. Obviously stand-ups. Is there any prones? Let's see. I'm gonna stand up real quick. I don't see any prone paddlers, but Outrigger 1, OC 1 out there. So, all right, we're getting ready to kick off this 5K any minute. I believe they got their 1 minute warning. Just like John Batson said earlier, anybody can do a 100-meter sprint. Well, I feel anybody can do a 5K paddle. I really do. You just got to set your pace and set some goals and come on out next year and join this race. That's a great overhead shot of all the 5K paddlers. Great turnout.
You could see that this 5K seems a little less competitive than the race that we just saw launch before.
Yeah, everybody's...
People are giving each other space.
Exactly.
Everybody's a little spread out.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of people out there that are spread out and giving everyone space. I love it. So I see some names out there that I'm going to point out. I see Mark Hewitt on the far left. He was the 60-plus sprint champion yesterday, so I expect Mark to have a good race here. Eli Miller's out there. She was on the podium for sprints. So don't count these guys out. That's an amazing shot, again, from the drone crew. Yeah, you can see it looks like Mark Hewitt out there jumping out to the front. And he's a really strong paddler. He comes from the biking world, cycling, racing different bikes. There's a shot of Mark now. Looks like maybe Joe Suvak to his left. Paul Gonzalez on his right. I'm sorry, I got that switched up. Paul on his left, Joe on his right. Great shot of Mark there. There's the rest of the pack. I see Eli Miller jumping on a little draft train there of somebody. So there's some great shots of surf skis. I'm loving it. This is some really good footage you guys are getting. Check into YouTube if you are not here live. Tell your friends. Again, we had a clean start. I didn't see anybody fall. This is good stuff. There's Mark Hewitt again out front. He's riding a really narrow board. It's pretty crazy to think. Most of these athletes are going to be paddling boards, especially on the 5K. Like I'd say 23 inches and wider. Some are going to be on 22s, but for the most part, in this division, you're going to see that range of board. Mark is on a 20.5. He's like one of these guys that, I got to be on the narrowest, fastest board, And I'm like, well, if you fall in and you're swimming, you're not as fast. But he manages it. He's practiced on it. He does a great job on it. So Mark's on a 20.5-inch wide board. And right now he's pulling out to the front, pretty solid lead. So
when your board is that narrow, don't you need to get started and kind of keep a steady pace in order to keep yourself upright?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the more you're moving, the more stable the board gets, for sure. So he made it through the start with a clean start. So now he just has to get around the buoy turns. If he can manage the buoys successfully, he's definitely going to have an advantage being on that narrow board. That's a great shot. I think Flying Fish needs to get this footage, please, for a commercial or something. This is great footage of Mark. Thanks, guys. You guys are doing an amazing job. I did see on the last screen we had before we were zoomed in on Mark, it looked like Steve Phillips was also making a move to try to catch Mark. Steve's a good, strong paddler as well. I think he was second in sprints yesterday behind Mark. So, but right now, gorgeous shot of the 5K. Wow, great start, clean start. And as we pan back, you should be seeing the Ohana spectator boat here in screen any second now. And again, we talked about the Ohana boat earlier. It was, I believe, a $50 donation, and I believe the money goes to the Outside Foundation anyway. So, absolutely great.
They offer free breakfast and drinks on board as well. So
Oh,
it's
man.
the full package.
I want to be on the boat. I don't know. We're stuck at this table. It's looking amazing. The drone footage today has been spectacular. Yeah, we're going to probably, there's a good shot of the Ohana spectator boat right there. So if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching this at a later date, come out to Hilton Head in September next year, jump on that boat. They're going to probably, I'm sure, at some point idle up to the 10K race, right? So they do their best to try to cover the whole race. So if you have loved ones or family members, even if you don't love them, out on the course, you can get a good look at them on the course. So that's a great shot of the Ohana. Huge thank you to those guys for their time.
Yeah, the Ohana boat actually runs year-round here locally, doing dolphin tours and even firework tours in the summer months. One of the newest things that they are doing is Lowcountry boil aboard the Ohana for a sunset cruise, and it's a great way to spend a night and eat some dinner.
That sounds like an amazing night, to be honest with you, having a Lowcountry boil on a boat. All right, the drone's going to fly back up and give us some coverage of this 5K, and then we're going to probably get caught up to the 10K guys. But you can see here, everyone's looking solid. Everyone's just smooth. It's great conditions. It's just amazing drone footage you guys are getting here today. We see a little draft train right there. So there we got a surf ski drafting a stand-up. That looks like Mark Hewitt, actually. So Mark's in the lead, pulling a couple surf skis. That would be an amazing feat, honestly, if Mark could finish first and beat even the surf skis. That's a huge accomplishment. But right now, Mark is putting on a show right now with that 20.5 Flying Fish Freedom dugout. Hopefully later you're going to see a nice commercial from Flying Fish on here. I might throw Joel an extra $20 tip or something if he airs it more. But anyway, that's a great shot right there. That's an amazing footage. You see the surf skis. We talked about it in 10K. The surf ski is the fastest vessel. Would you agree with that, John Batson?
Yeah, I think so. Probably we're looking at especially Flavio Costa out there,
Yeah.
one of the top riders. He's
Yeah.
won that course 5 times maybe.
Yeah, Fabio's an amazing paddler. Every race I ever see him at, he seems to win. So he's an incredible athlete. And just the boat in general, because, again, we talked about it, they have a double-bladed paddle. It's a kayak. It's kind of the same hull shape, give or take, as an outrigger. But, an outrigger paddler, one has the AMA. Two, they have a single-bladed paddle. So they're just going to be slightly slower. And then stand-up is going to be your, next, vessel speed-wise as far as the vessel's concerned. But, you're going to see guys like Jake Portwood and Campbell Carter, Steve Miller, all those guys we talked about, they're going to beat plenty of surf skis. It's just that, obviously the motor on the boats matter. So we have a great shot here of some of our 5K paddlers. All levels of paddlers are invited out here and just enjoy this beautiful. Look at that shot of Hilton Head.
This shot is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Can you give us a little bit of what where he's probably seeking out the paddlers right now? But what are we looking at here?
So.
Oh.
That's okay.
On camera 4, if you can switch back over, what are we looking at here? Is this us to the left on the screen?
So this camera is coming right to where we are at the Rowing and Sailing Center dock. We're
perfect.
looking at the north end of Hilton Head. which is the Squire Pope Road area, as well as Jenkins Road up above where we have a marina and the RV resort of Hilton Head. But it's a beautiful shot of the glassy water. You can see some of the middle marsh in there. So where you see grass in the water, most of that area is completely surrounded by our oyster beds.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing resource that we have here and a great component of the Outside Foundations program, because we consistently build oyster reefs and replenish this area in order to make our ecosystem healthier. And I have Jean Frew here to talk a little bit about the oysters.
Hope you're ready, Jean. We're throwing you on the mic.
Thanks, everyone. Before I get started, I just want to do a really huge thank you to the Varro family for once again coming in and for traveling to be here today to honor the beloved Peter. And, we're just so thankful for their sponsorship and just want to give them a big shout out for that. And so the Outside Foundation is really excited to be here today. And as Kat's, talking about this beautiful salt marsh, it's really hard to go anywhere on Hilton Head Island and not see salt marsh, not see salt water. And when you think about that, think about the limited amount of access that we have for children to actually be able to get out and enjoy these beautiful salt marshes, which are best really experienced in a kayak or a paddleboard and of course by boat. So we're doing kind of a multi-program we're a multi-program foundation. It's all directed at protecting these waters. Tomorrow we got a big cleanup on Pinckney. So we have a lot of people scheduled. We're working with U.S. Fish and Wildlife and SC the aquarium, and as well as Palmetto Running Company, and then of course a lot of our local kind of regulars for coming in to help with that. And Kat mentioned our oyster shell recycling program. In 2018, we were awarded a Patagonia grant, and we began a community-based oyster shell recycling and bed restoration project. And what that does is we have a local recycle company that goes to all around 25 different restaurants here, Bluffton and also Palmetto Bluff, and they collect shuck shell. And that shucked oyster shell is just a tremendous natural resource. And we want to divert it from the landfill. We also do the Oyster Festival. We do the Seafood Fest. We do the Bluffton or the Beaufort Oyster Fest. And we've managed to collect almost 200 tons of shell over that time period and build 34 new reef. And those reefs are called living shorelines.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and so all of these programs kind of run together. And of course, our signature program is called Kids in Kayaks. And that's a program where we're getting, well over 1,000 kids, 7th graders, with their teachers during a regular school day out there kayaking, exploring, learning by being immersed in that environment. And Island Rec is coming right along with us as a fabulous partner for allowing those kids to have experiences before and after. So we want to fill in all those holes to increase access to this beautiful salt marsh.
Yeah, that's amazing. There's no way better to experience the marsh than from a kayak or a paddleboard or a boat. Like up close and personal, getting to see the ecosystem. And I know as a fisherman myself, the oysters play such a huge role all through the environment. It starts as a filter, for the water, and then obviously a food source for certain fish, and a nesting ground for different crustaceans, shrimp, and little critters have a nursery to grow up in, and then that allows the redfish and trout and dolphin to have some meals, and then so it's a huge part of this ecosystem. The oyster beds and the marshes are really the heartbeat of this ecosystem. So yeah, just get out here, enjoy it. Look up the Outside Foundation. Look up the
Island Recreation Center.
Island Recreation Center. Get on the water. Get your kids on the water and enjoy it yourself as well. So I believe we're going to go to a commercial break here soon. So when we come back, we'll check in on these racers and get you an update.
Paddlefest, a celebration of paddling, play, and community out on the water. This event wouldn't be possible without the amazing support of our sponsors and partners. We would like to honor our beneficiaries. the Outside Foundation, and the Island Recreation Center, whose important work inspires us and will receive the proceeds from this event. We also thank our host, the dedicated team who charted the course and brought Paddlefest to life. Dr. John Batson, Spine and Sports Medicine, the Outside Foundation, the Island Recreation Center, the Town of Hilton Head, and Outside Brands. We're grateful to our financial sponsors, whose generous support provides the strong current that keeps this event moving forward. 3T MRI Belfair, Benchmark Physical Therapy, Coastal States Bank, Elite Physical Therapy, the Lowcountry Group with England Volkers Real Estate Hilton Head, Hilton Head Properties, Neurosurgical and Spine Institute, Optum Orthopedic, OsteoStrong, Ted Neely, The Boathouse, The Greenery, The Zone, Boss Orthopedics, the family of Peter Viro, Hilton Head Properties Realty and Rentals, Herman and Davis Properties, Collins Group Realty, and Signature Catering. And we are incredibly grateful to our in-kind sponsors, who shared their services, skills, and gifts to make this day unforgettable. Bluffton Paddle Club, Dragon Boat of Beaufort, USA Stand-Up Paddleboard, Hilton Head Island Coffee Roasters, Sea Pines Resort, Rollers Wine and Spirits, Outside Brands, Iron Fish Art, Sweet Pea Fishing, Julie Jones Art, The Surge Group, Benny's Coastal Kitchen, Hilton Head Running Company, Flying Fish Board Company, and Green Earth Off-Grid Audio. Our sponsors make it possible for everyone to get out on the water and paddle and play. We're building community, making water sports more accessible, and having a great time together. Enjoy Paddlefest!
Olukai shoes bring the comfort of walking barefoot on wet sand to any journey. Because we don't travel to go further, we travel to get closer. And no matter how far we go, we can always bring the aloha with us. Any moment can feel like you're stepping into the spirit of Hawaii. Say aloha to Olukai. Anywhere comfort, anywhere aloha. Olukai shoes bring the comfort of walking barefoot on wet sand to any journey. Because we don't travel to go further, we travel to get closer. And no matter how far we go, we can always bring the aloha with us. Any moment can feel like you're stepping into the spirit of Hawaii. Say aloha to Olukai. Anywhere comfort, anywhere aloha.
Seeing monsters out your window. No, you can't sleep. You pretend though you don't have to play the hero. 'Cause I got you like you got me. When the earth shakes, when the bombs scream, until our last breath.
Okay, we are back live here, picking up the action. Looks like we have located the 10K draft pack. So let's see if we can get a little closer, and I'll try to give you an idea of who's who. All right. So it looks like we got Jake Portwood, Steve Miller, and Campbell Carter sitting in first, second, and third. Cameron Carney's still on that draft. It looks like Seychelle Webster. Seychelle stayed with the boys, so that's going to be her race right there. It looks like Blake Carmichael fell off somewhere. We didn't get the chance to see it, but from this angle, we've got Steve Miller, Jake Portwood, Campbell Carter, Cameron Carney. Oh, that's a tricky one now. I just realized that. The C's. And I do believe I caught a glimpse of Blake right there. So Blake's close. He can fight his way back. So Seychelle always races smart. She's one of the smartest racers out there. She's very experienced. She took advantage of the boys for sure and got on that draft train. So that's your clear leader for the female division is Seychelle, obviously. I think that was kind of expected coming into this. She fell yesterday at the sprint, which is very unlike her. And, it's just not like her at all. So she wants to win today for sure. There's no doubt. That's if we could go to camera 4, yeah, there's still a great shot of the draft train. So now they've settled into what we talked about earlier, where they're more traditional drafting, nose to tail. Steve Miller, you can see is side drafting Jake. Just knowing Steve, he's one of my best friends. Steve and Jake, they prefer side drafting. It's just more efficient, to be honest with you. You just have to be good at it. So, yeah, they're coming around now. I don't know if you know that location at all.
Yes, they are passing Skull Creek Marina. It looks like they're hugging those docks pretty tight because now they're going to be against the outgoing tide.
Okay. Yeah. That's great to know. So I'm glad we got Kat here with us today to help me navigate where these guys are. That's a great drone shot. I love it. Look how close Jake Portwood is hugging that dock. He's going to that could shake up the race a little bit. One little bobble.
I imagine they're going to be hugging tight to the edges of the creek as close as they can get because our tidal range changes about every 6 hours-ish.
Okay.
And the 2 hours in the middle is the highest fluctuation of water. So that's when our currents are the strongest. And we are entering into that 2 hour period right now. And they're going to be fighting for that 8.5 feet of water that's moving in and out of our waterway right now.
Excellent. Yeah, that's really good to know. And and these guys are experienced paddlers. Everybody in that lead pack has experience, knows how to read water. So that's great commentary as to why they're hugging that dock so much. Looks like we're kind of looking at a wide angle of the whole pack here. Like you mentioned, they're up against the current at this point, so the speeds are going to be dropping quite a bit. Really, at some point here in the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we're going to start seeing something shake up. So more than likely, someone's going to try to make a move of some sort. They're not just going to come in a single file line. I can assure you that. It looks like, from my perspective of covering racing for years now, Campbell Carter is racing a much smarter race than I've seen him race in the past. His mom's here. If she wants to say anything about that, she's laughing. But, I love Campbell. He's one of my absolute favorite kids. But, you got to grow up. You got to learn. You got to race smart. You really do. And he tried to pull out on his own last year, and it just didn't work. So he's racing smarter. He's in that pack. As long as he has Jake and Steve and his eyesight and everyone else, he's in totally good position. So it almost looks like if this is our lead pack, it looks like it may have broken up a little bit.
I don't think that's our lead pack.
Okay.
They had already passed by already, so this
okay.
is kind of the tail end.
That's our next
there's more
pack.
paddlers back behind them.
Yeah,
so the
absolutely.
Next pack, yes.
The next pack. Yeah, usually what you'll find in these races is you'll have your lead pack that we've talked about a lot, and then you're going to have that next group. You know what I mean? I think we might be looking at Joe Suvak there. I'm not sure. No, Billy's on a blue board. So anyway, so we got some great shots here of all the other paddlers on the course. Everyone's getting some love here. But typically, what I was getting at is you're going to have your lead pack, and then you're going to have that next group, and then the next group. Like we talked about earlier, all the little there's Billy there, Billy Mack, and Eric Carter. So that's going to be your next two 50-plus paddlers. Steve Miller's got a clear lead on that, and that was expected. So Steve's up there with the other 5 guys. But this is your battle for the other 50-plus division. So that's these guys are working together.
Watching these guys paddle so close to each other, I'm sure on occasion by accident they bump into each other. Is there any penalty if somebody knocks somebody off of a board?
Yes, no, technically there should be, but there never is. When you're drafting, you may tap the person here and there. It's not a huge deal. These guys are pretty communicative, and they'll apologize and, hey, I'm sorry, bud. But yeah, so that's not really too much of an issue. You'll see that stuff when they approach buoys and try to do buoy turns. There could be some interference calls and stuff like that. I would not want to be a race director at certain events because I see stuff where I'm just like, wow, that's pretty dirty. But in a race like this, it's going to be a clean race for the most part. There we go. If we can go to camera 4. Looks like we have some nice paddle action there. No, I don't think that's a different group, right? So is that still Eric and Billy? Okay, so that is still Eric and Billy. I'm going to have to talk to Billy later, tell him to stand forward about 6 more inches. He's standing a little bit too far back on his board. But that's a great drone shot again. You can see there's a little bit of texture on the water, Kat. It's... Mm-hmm. Not enough really to affect these guys, but maybe they're getting a little bit of a breeze out there to cool down. It's a warm day here in Hilton Head.
Mm-hmm. So we're getting the texture on the water because our prevailing winds today, even though they're very low, are coming from the northeast. And with the current going out towards the ocean right now, the wind and the current are opposite to each other, and that's giving us the texture on the water. At 2 o'clock when it switches, it should probably smooth right out and be super glassy.
Gotcha. Absolutely. So I'm wondering, it might be hard to find her, but I know Maddie LeBlanc has got to be somewhere within eye shot of that group. But at this point, seeing Seychelles in that lead pack with the boys, I'm pretty sure at this point, Maddie's not going to be able to close that gap. So right now, again, to give you a recap, we have Seychelles Webster in the front for the ladies, and we're assuming Maddie LeBlanc. We'll see. In the men's right now, Jake and Steve Miller in the front, Campbell Carter, Cameron Kearney, and Blake Carmichael. Man, that's a lot of C's. Those 5 guys are still up there. They're all still in the race. I kind of expected this, and like I said, soon we're going to see some sort of shaking up going on. It's kind of interesting. We have a bunch of packs of 2s, so it looks like everyone has found their competition and they're sort of working together. So
I just want a solid human.
Great footage here. That is Jake and Miller. So wait a minute. So we got Jake Portwood and Steve Miller on the screen right now have broken away from the group. So they made a move. I talked about it. At some point there's going to be a move made. There had to be a decision at some point. Maybe they decided to take a different line. Maybe they decided to just do a sprint and try to break them. Both these guys are totally capable of that. But right now, I don't see the other pack. Let's see if we can get the drone footage. Is that the Ohana up there? Maybe.
That would be the lead boat, I believe.
Lead boat. Okay, so
off to the side, to the left.
Yeah, so if we can pan the drone back a little bit so we can try to catch a glimpse of. Oh boy. Okay, what happened here, Kat? Can you tell me?
They're passing Hudson's restaurant right now, so
Okay.
they're going to be
They're getting
in
close.
view. Yeah, they're going to be close.
Wow.
But now we can see the other 2 packs staggered back behind them with the Ohana off to their right.
Wow.
actually.
Okay. So the boys, that's what I call them. Sorry, they're close friends of mine and our team riders. The boys made a move. It looks like the next is Cameron and Seychelles. All right, Mama Carter's back here wondering what's going on. That's okay. Let's just see. There's still plenty of racing to go on. There's lots of things that can go on. I mean, I used to race, competitively back in the day, the good old days. But no, lots of things can happen, right? Nutrition, hydration could go wrong. You just might not start feeling good. You just bonk, they call it. Basically your body's just like, man, I've worked too hard to stay here and I can't do it any longer. So it's definitely a competition of the fittest. But wow, that shook up. So I didn't realize when we were looking at those packs of twos, that's our lead 6. Mm-hmm. What do you think of that, Kat?
I think it's amazing. They were so close together. And I'm wondering, that split at the other docks, like it happened within the last 5 minutes pretty much. Whether it was fatigue, whether it's the current, fighting that tide.
Yeah,
it could be any number of
factors. And if they're at Hudson's, they're, less than a mile away at this point?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, wow, they are fast. I'm going to tell you right now, that king tide or the full moon tide really benefited these guys. The average speed for this race is going to be very fast because if they're where I think they are, and we're going to see them coming across the line here in the next 15 minutes, maybe sooner, this is going to be maybe a course record. So I'm thinking that king tide, they must have been averaging 7+ miles an hour on the backside. I'm going to talk to the boys later, maybe even more because they're just that fast, these guys. But yeah, there's a good shot of your leaders. Jake Portwood and Steve Miller made a move. So right now it's Jake Portwood, Steve Miller, Cameron Carney in third, Seychelle Webster. Then we had Campbell and Blake in their draft pack sitting in 4th, 5th, and 6th. So,
yeah, they're coming in pretty soon, and we've actually got some local wildlife here to greet them upon their entrance. I just saw a manatee stick its face out of the water.
Oh no, right here.
It's been cruising around all morning, and maybe it'll pop out for one of our final shots.
Well, I've actually had this happen to me. They've actually popped up and knocked me off my board before. So let's hope something like that doesn't happen. I'm sure that Cameron and Seychelle and Campbell and Blake are hoping that happens. But at this point, it's a Jake Portwood, Steve Miller show. These two guys have pulled away. They're working together. And remember, Steve Miller's technically not in the open race. So he's sitting in second position overall. He'll be first for the 50+. So that puts Cameron Carney in second. And the battle right now for the open division is going to be between Blake and Campbell for the last podium spot. So we've got a lot of stuff shaken up. Obviously, Seychelle's going to get the win for the women's at this point. And then we'll obviously get some coverage for you guys of the other girls as they get closer to the finish. But there's a great shot of Cameron and Seychelle on screen. Again, excellent technique. Seychelle's just smart. I mean, she's just so smart. And there you see Campbell making a move. He's trying to catch back up to that draft pack so he can make a move at the finish. So this race is not over. This second and third position, or third, fourth position is still up in the air. So, yeah, we are going to have our finishers coming in here any minute now. I can see the surf skis actually on the horizon. There's our lead boat and the Ohana following. This has been a fast race. Wow, what a fast race for a distance. This race is a 10K, but I believe when these guys mapped it, it was slightly more than 6.5 miles, give or take. So, wow, this is really fast for a 6.5 mile race. I mean, they're going to break an hour.
John, aren't they doing the turn for the 10? Don't they have to do 2 laps? Yeah, they're doing 2 laps.
Oh, they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're doing 2 laps. All right, well, then there you go. Scratch everything I've said for the last 20 minutes. I thought this was the end of the race. I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay, that makes way more sense to me. I'm like, how are these guys doing this in 41 minutes? Like, so is this going to be a true halfway point, though? Not really, right? Because all they're going to do is go back up Skull Creek and back.
Yes.
Okay. So then that makes even more sense because I'm like, there's no way it's going to take them an hour and 20 minutes to do this race. So, Okay, so these guys are going to come around a buoy.
You see it? Like the
smooth, the more grass over there.
yeah. I think there's a baby because I just saw like a.
Oh, yeah.
Carney's in the open as a J.
He's open.
Camp Carney's open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe he signed up as open. I would be shocked if he didn't, so. Okay, we got Maddie LeBlanc on the screen. So Maddie found a draft train to jump on, and that's going to be your second place women's, I believe. She looks like she's paddling with Tristan Gregory from the Panhandle of Florida. I recognize Tristan's board. He's a strong paddler. And then look at the little bumps they're catching right now. They get a little texture, and they can ride those wakes. Okay, so let's recap this. I was absolutely wrong. This race is not going to end in the next 10 minutes. But they will be approaching this Olukai buoy that is off of our pier here, making a turn around that buoy, heading back up Skull Creek for maybe another 3/4 of a mile, and then another buoy turn and back. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. All right, so you can see on the screen there's Jake Portwood, Pullen Miller, and then on the left of your screen, your lead surf ski guys. So at this point, man, Jake and Steve are really, I don't see.
Look at that inside line they're taking. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's the other group on the other side of the dock you can see. So, yeah, Jake and Steve are definitely taking an inside line, getting out of the current. You know, listen, Jake Portwood's been racing since, I think, 2010. I mean, this guy's an OG racer for a long, long time. He's only 38 years old, but he started at 20 years old. So he's been racing a very long time, and he's an extremely smart waterman, as well as Steve Miller. Steve's birthday is on Monday, so if you run into Steve, make sure you wish him a happy birthday. Turning 52 years old. I know that because we're the same age. But yeah, Steve is an incredible, he's a legend in my mind, honestly. Steve is such an amazing paddler. So there's a good look at the next guys. We've got, it looks like Cameron and Seychelles are still got a little bit, maybe a 2 board length, maybe 3 board length lead on Campbell and Blake. But at this point, since they have to go back up Skull Creek, lots can still happen. So not counting out anybody at this point. But Steve and Jake, as you see on the screen there, Jake's using that Stingray paddle by Quickblade. A lot of people ask about that paddle. It's so unique looking. That's a new paddle that came out last year. Jimmy Terrell, they call him the mad scientist. He developed that paddle. And you're going to see a lot of our outrigger paddlers use that paddle. It's designed to catch a lot of water. You have to have good technique, though. You know, it's one of those paddles that'll bring out your errors if you have them. So it's a great paddle by Quickblade, but that's what you're looking at there. So let's see. Steve made that buoy turn. Let's see if he can jump back up to Jake's draft. They're going to work together. Jake's not going to leave him behind at this point. And you can see they made the turn, and here's the other group still working their way up.
They've gotten themselves closer together, though. I'm interested to see how it goes around the buoy for them.
Yeah, exactly. This 4-pack is definitely going to shake up at some point. This is not how it's just going to end. Right now, Cameron Carney definitely has the lead. You can see, Blake just took some hydration there. Typically, right before a buoy turn, you want to get a little hydration because... Oh, we're having a surf ski finisher come through the line.
5K.
5K surf ski.
5K finisher.
Nice job. Great job. Paddler number 48, if we can get an ID. What a great job. Congratulations, our first surf ski. We got a little split screen action here, so you see the buoy turn. Looks like William Brew winning the 5K surf ski. Great job, William. Following number 52, is that Wayne Ardicker? Wayne, good job, Wayne. All right, guys, that's great. 5K sit-downs. So it looks like everybody made the buoy turn clean, and nothing changed, honestly. It looks like the distance is about the same, maybe 2 board lengths. Campbell, from that perspective, Campbell looks a lot closer, but I think he has about 2 board lengths to close, believe it or not. So, again, Seychelles racing an incredibly smart race, super strong paddler. You can see the cadences have slowed down quite a bit. They're over halfway through the race at this point. And now they're riding the tide back out.
That'll be super beneficial for them to gain some speed.
Yeah, at some point, just knowing from experience these racers, Jake is not just resting on his laurels at this point. He does have a decent lead, but these athletes are strong enough to close that gap if they can muster up enough energy at a sprint at the end. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Miller and Portwood make maybe one more thrust, one more move to try to open that gap. We'll see what happens. Looks like we got Maddie LeBlanc on the screen here coming in. So that's Maddie, your second place women's. I also see on the screen some more surf ski paddlers in the 5K division, it looks like, off to the left of the screen there. There's a good shot of Maddie. There you go. There's your 5K surf skis. And if we pan a little further left, and right there, Mark Hewitt, we talked about him earlier. He's going to be your winner of the 5K stand-up race. 60-plus years old. That's awesome to see. And he looks dry, so maybe he stayed up on that skinny board the whole time. So we got Mark Hewitt right there on screen. Great shot of Mark. He's going to be your 5K stand-up winner. Let's hear it for him on the dock, guys. Great job, Mark Hewitt. Mark resides down there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, down in South Florida. He paddles with the Tuesday Night Race League crew. Trains really hard. Congratulations, Mark. Nice work. That's 2 for 2, Mark. He wins the 60-plus sprints yesterday, and now he wins the 5K. So been a great event for Mark. We have a couple more surf skis coming across from the 5K race. Great job, guys. Man, this has been exciting. So, and we have a lot more racers approaching that buoy now doing the 10K. So, there we go. We got some more racers coming in. There's your Billy Mack and Eric Carter battle. Eric Carter, the father of Campbell Carter. Whoa, Billy Mack's going wide. Billy, you got to turn. All right, Campbell, oh boy, Eric with a great turn there. There's Paul Pianowski from California. I believe he lives in North Carolina now. Somebody told me yesterday. So that's Paul making the turn. Great job, Paul. But that's your 50-plus racers making that buoy turn. So let's see who else we got coming up there.
Those racers have some great pivot turns, and their technique is super great.
Yeah, they have really good technique. Like I said, a lot of these paddlers, especially in the lead pack, are going to be pretty experienced paddlers, and they're going to do that buoy turn, the walk to the tail and lift the nose up. So we have some more stand-up finishers coming in. It looks like, I'm going to say Joe Suvak. I see Joe and somebody I can't ID, so Joe Suvak and, that's Mitch. Yeah, Mitch and Joe coming in. Great job for second and third in the stand-up. Nice job, Mitch. Joe Suvak, nice work, boys. And this looks like David Stevenson, I believe I'm saying that, Stephenson, David coming in. 43. Roger, sorry about that. Got the names mixed up. And another surf ski paddler in. So that's a great job, all these 5K finishers. Good job, Robert. That's your top 4 stand-up paddlers right there. We're going to see who rounds out top 5. I see Steve Phillips coming in. Looks like Steve's going to round out the top 5. So great job by these 5K competitors. All right, great job.
It's a great shot of our dock, all of our enthusiastic crew cheering people on, and our
Absolutely.
crew reporting.
So I'm seeing Meredith Stewart making a buoy turn right now. I don't know if we've had any other women competitors turn that buoy, but she may be your third place women's. right now. It's hard to, we haven't been seeing all the buoy turns, so we might have missed somebody, but I believe that might be your third place is Meredith Stewart. I mentioned her earlier in the broadcast as one of the favorites to look at, and I see there right of screen is Caitlin Chen. So Caitlin's approaching the buoy now. Steve Phillips just crossed the finish line. Steve, great job. That rounds out your top 5 for the 5K. Let's give him some love down there. Live on our screen on YouTube, beautiful shot of Caitlin Chen approaching the buoy. She's doing a cross-bow turn. See how she just used the cross-bow paddle. So that's called a cross-bow pivot turn or buoy turn. And kind of like comes from the canoe background. It's a little bit easier of a turn, not quite as quick as a pivot step back, but she really efficiently turned that buoy. And then if we can get on to camera 2, there we go. Eli Miller is going to be your first female for the 5K. Wife of Steve Miller, who's also having an incredible race on the 10K. There you go, Eli Miller on that beautiful bright green Flying Fish board. Congratulations, Eli. She made the podium yesterday in the open division sprints. She got 3rd place in the sprints yesterday for the open division. So that's a great job, Eli. Congratulations. Looks like we got Paul Gonzalez coming in. Paul is used to be from California. Now he resides in South Carolina. Great job, Paul. All right, let's see. Jim Emery coming across the finish line. Jim from Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. Great job, Jim. And David. Yeah, we got an outrigger canoe coming in. All right, great job, all these finishers of the 5K. Really good times by these guys. Great job. We have another female cross the line. I'm sorry, I don't have a name. Number 65. And your outrigger paddler. Great job. Yeah, we have some more competitors here on screen. I see Ruth Ann Steen on screen. Looks like she's approaching the buoy now for the 10K. And we have a finisher also coming in the kayak. Great job. Oh, Ruth Ann looks like she must have made a fall at the buoy turn. She's got to get up and get a recovery there. That's what we talked about. You know, the buoy turns are where things are going to shake up because it's you've been settled into a paddle stroke for 10K and then all of a sudden you got to step back on your board and your legs are like, whoa, wait a minute, what are we doing here? So
Hopefully that dip will refresh her, give her some energy.
absolutely, yeah. That's Sue Butler turning the buoy now. Sue's also in that 50-plus race, along with Christina Morrows we just watched cross the buoy. Let's see who else I recognize here. That's Lindsay Tilton making the buoy turn. She's an ultra endurance paddler, so she, last paddler standing, the only female to complete the Alabama 650 on a stand-up, 650 miles. 650 miles, like that's just ridiculous.
The ultras blow my mind. That is dedication beyond.
So that's Lindsay's game. So she's out here doing. She's just getting warmed up at a 10K. But speed is not her game. It's all about the endurance for her. So let's see who else we might have turning this buoy. I don't recognize the board or the paddler. Sorry, guys. Man, this has been a great race so far. I've really enjoyed this. The competitors have given it their all. Their 5Ks are coming in now, a lot of the 5K. We should probably try to catch up to the lead pack at this point if we can. I don't know if the drone coverage can get that far down Skull Creek, but we'll bring you back to the 10K battle that was going on when we left. Yep, no worries. Right now we're watching a few more of our 5K competitors coming into the dock. If we can switch to camera 2 even, we see quite a few competitors on the field. There you go. Okay, this gets a little interesting, right? So you have everyone that's made the buoy turn, and then you have other paddlers approaching the buoy. So you got a little head-on navigation going. I see Ed Pierce on screen. See Ed with that funky-looking board. He built that himself. Ed is in his 70s. So Ed's a great guy, incredibly fit. Man, at 71 or 72 years old, I don't know. It's a great story. So I don't recognize anyone else on the screen right now, but that's a good shot of Ed and his board. Great job, Ed. He's got that Stingray paddle we talked about. So Ed's approaching the buoy now. Amazing job. Oh, good shot there of Ed. So it's a catamaran design, so it's great. I'm sure it's very stable, great for flat water. But yeah, he's excited that he designed that board and built it. So it's pretty cool to see people thinking outside the box.
Isn't that how it all began?
That's how it all began. Yeah, you have to think outside the box.
Changing them to make them into what we have today.
Yeah, the evolution of boards, even in the 8 years that I've been building boards, the evolution has been crazy over the last 8 years. I see some of our older original models, and I'm almost ashamed of it. You know, I'm like, oh, geez, what was I thinking back then? But anyway, looks like we got Trisha on screen. She's all the way from Montana. Trisha on screen there. Great job, Trisha. I see Alan Allenquist on screen. Alan's a paddler from Florida. I believe these are 10K. I think they're all doing the 10K. So, yeah, Trisha's approaching the buoy now. We do have a 5K competitor finishing here. I believe this is, I could be saying it wrong. It's either Christine or Chris. It's one of the Chris's. Chris's. Finishing now the 5K. Great job. There's Trish rounding the buoy. Let's see if she can get around that buoy. And nice turn by Trish. So she's came all the way from Montana, and she goes to all the races around the country. Great supporter. All right. We also see on screen Rachel Cantori there. She's approaching the 5K buoy, if I had to guess. Let's see, we have a 5K competitor coming in. On screen there is Karen. There's our 5K finisher. All right, great job, everyone. All right, there might be some confusion on the course. I think some of these 10K paddlers thought they were done. And they're like, oh, I got to go back up Skull Creek. So 10K competitors, turn that buoy and head back up Skull Creek. You're not quite done yet, but you're getting close. There's a good shot of Alicia Norton. She's out of the Jacksonville, Florida area. So good shot of Alicia. Let's see who we have here. That is Karen Summerfield from Costa Rica on screen there. She's one of the ones I think that realized she had to turn the buoy and head back up. So
Hopefully she could ride that outgoing tide and make up some of that.
yeah, I think they're going to feel relieved. Feeling a little bit of that tide. Of course, once they make the turn one more time, they're going to have to fight it back. But we should be able to get you guys soon back to our lead pack, and we're going to see what has shaken up in the last 10, 15 minutes here while we've been away from those guys. We've had some great coverage of all the paddlers, all the age groups, all the crafts. This crew is doing an amazing job. We have a finisher right now. Yeah, I see him. How do we reset this again? All right, let's see. I got it. We're back on here with the lead pack. That's Campbell Carter and Cameron and Campbell looks like now working together. So we definitely had something shaked up here. So right now, currently, Jake Portwood, Steve Miller are still in the lead. I can see them off to my left on the live view. On screen, you're looking at Campbell Carter and Cameron Carney. Oh, boy, this is going to be tough. It looks like Seychelles. Blake is about 4 board lengths behind those guys, and then Seychelles has fallen back on her own. But at this point, Seychelles has pulled away. She's really going to have something disastrous happen if she doesn't win. So I'm calling Seychelles clearly in the lead now, obviously. On screen, that looks like it's Jake and Steve.
These 10K competitors are now in the deeper part of Skull Creek, so they're going to get more flow and more current that they are fighting against as that tide goes out.
Okay, at this point, where do they go from here, Kat? They're heading back up Skull Creek.
I'm not quite sure. They
Okay.
might be having to round this yellow buoy past our sunken sailboat
Gotcha.
over here to come back in.
Okay, so they're getting really close to the finish at this point. They're going to go around that yellow buoy, not that yellow buoy. Somebody fell there at the buoy, but there's a good shot of them and that buoy. So they're going to come around that buoy and then head back this way. They may have to round that yellow buoy out in front of the dock, I'm not sure, in order to head back this way for the finish. So, yeah, I apologize I don't have a map of the race with me. I am an amateur commentator, so please bear with me. On our split screen now, you can see a prone competitor on the left of the screen and our lead pack on the right-hand side of the screen. So,
I just received a text from one of our chase boats that the first 8 boats in the endurance race have entered Skull Creek, and they are passing the Rebo Island docks. So
Okay,
they're going to be seeing them soon over at the Skull Creek Marina.
okay, so the sit-down endurance race that's a great shot of Jake and Steve there. At this point, from my perspective, live here at the dock, they have at least a 200-meter lead, and they've already rounded that buoy, and they're heading back down Skull Creek. Oh, there's a race map if you guys want to throw that up real quick. Okay, so if I can figure this out, note to final yellow buoy turn. So, man, I don't know. This isn't even helping me because I think where it says program on the screen is where they're...
No, it's correct. They are going
Okay.
to round that yellow buoy out there, and then they are going to take this zigzaggy path into this area right here.
Okay.
So they are getting close to finishing.
Okay, do we know if they have to round that other yellow buoy? No, they're just going to come around and
They're going
finish.
to come around in. So our 2 racers have already come around that yellow buoy, and they are now making their pathway in towards the
Okay,
dock.
and now we see Campbell is just now approaching that buoy. So Campbell Carter and Cameron Carney, how about that? Got that one off. Are now rounding that buoy. So that's your battle for 3rd and 4th. Technically overall, we're calling it as overall, but right now Steve Miller's in the 50 plus. So really that's your battle for 2nd and 3rd in the open. So there's a lot of internal races. There's Blake Carmichael making that turn now. He's going to have to really make up some ground if he wants to catch those guys. It's not unheard of at this point, but they have about a 50-meter lead on him, and it's just going to be tough, honestly. It's going to be tough for him to close that gap. From our perspective, it looks like Seychelles on screen approaching the buoy. She's dealing with a little bit of boat wake there you can see on screen. We have a surf ski paddler coming in. This might be one of our first endurance paddlers. So we're getting really close to the end of this race. When these competitors are finishing, we want to hear some noise down there on the dock. These guys have worked hard. But we definitely have a race shaking up. There's Seychelles turning that buoy. Your top female paddler had an incredible race. Great job by Seychelles. She's rounded that final buoy. She's going to work her way through these islands and to the finish line.
So according to the maps, our endurance racers are also going to come down the main channel of Skull Creek and come around this yellow buoy, then making their way into the channel. So any finishers coming straight into the dock are all of our 5K racers, and then our 10K and endurance are going to come from the main channel.
Okay, so that's good to know. I see a little bit, like I see a red buoy floating out there. Maybe Jake and Steve have to round that buoy and come in. This way they avoid any oyster bars and that sort of thing. So I'm going to be able to tell you here in a minute, because right now they're both heading towards the shoreline. You can see them out to your left if you're on the dock and you look out straight towards the Skull Creek. That's Jake Portwood and Steve Miller in the lead. That's your winners or leaders of the 10K. They're going to come around, I think, that red buoy and head this way. Let's see what happens. On screen, we're watching some of our endurance paddlers rounding that yellow buoy. Up there they go. Jake Portwood's rounding that buoy. I don't know if we can get a shot of those guys. They are heading into the finish line now. They can definitely hear you guys, so there's a shot of their Jake and Steve battling it out. We'll see if Steve tries to make a little move on his buddy, but I'm going to guess not. Jake's pulled him all the way around the course. Steve's going to tip his hat and thank him later, buy him a beer, because he definitely raced smart, which I always tell my guys, race as smart as possible. That's all you can do. And those two boys did it right there. So that's going to be your first and second place 10K leaders on screen. Jake Portwood, Steve Miller, both on the Freedom Pro. Let's see, I believe Jake's probably riding a 20.5 wide board, and Miller's on a 19.5 wide board. So that puts things into perspective size-wise. Steve's might be a 20. I really should know, but I don't remember. But somewhere in that range. Great shot of those guys coming to the finish line now. You can see in the background of the screen, there's Campbell and Cam still battling it out. That's going to be the race. Campbell and Cam coming around that final red buoy, they're going to have a sprint to the finish. Those two guys are going to want to finish third. One of those two guys is going to want to finish third.
They already look like they're neck to neck right now.
Absolutely. It looks like Cam made a move on the outside. We're going to get to them in a second, but right now we're watching Jake Portwood putting down the hammer, the winner of your 10K distance race, Olukai 2025 Lowcountry Paddlefest. Jake Portwood, Steve Miller. Great job, boys. Woo, what a battle. Great job, great job. That is your first and second place overall and your 2 first place finishers for the Open and Masters 50+ division. Steve Miller, you're a legend. All right, now to the race. We had a great shot of those two coming right there. Let's go back to camera 4. Here's your race for 3rd and 4th overall. 2nd and 3rd in the Open division. Campbell, Carter, Cam, Carney battling side by side. This is going to be a close one to the finish. Wow, we're staying here. This is going to be the race of the day right here coming in. Look at that cadence. These guys are beat. This is not a sprint to the finish. This is a who can grind it out the most. We also just had our endurance paddler, Surfski, finish fabulous. Great job. But right now the battle is between Cam and Campbell for that 3rd overall position. It looks like Cam's got the advantage. Cam Carney, all the way from Canada, looks like he's going to take the 3rd overall position. Campbell's going to have a little bit of work to do here. He's got about a 1 board length lead, and it's going to be Cameron Carney, all the way from Canada. Campbell Carter finishing, rounding out that top 4. Great job, boys. What a race. Woo! That was the race right there, guys. Great job by Cameron Carney, making a move at that last buoy and just battling it to the end. Those two young guys are close friends. incredible futures for both those guys. Here's Blake Carmichael on screen. Blake's going to be happy with this top 5 finish. Blake is also an endurance paddler. He's that last paddler standing. He won last paddler standing 2 years ago. He's won the crossing, things like that. So he's definitely an endurance paddler. He wants to make his mark in competitive racing, though. He's been training hard and finished second in the sprints yesterday. So great job by Blake Carmichael. We also have some more surf ski competitors coming in from the 11K. That's Justin in the lead seat. I recognize Justin. All right, great job by these surf ski paddlers. All right, if we pan that camera out, I see another surf ski, and not too far behind that surf ski, Seychelle Webster, putting an exclamation mark on this distance race. This is your top female paddler right there, center of the screen. Great technique. One of the most well-known coaches in the world. There comes Seychelle Webster with the win. Let's hear it for her, guys. Great job, Seychelle. Seychelle Webster with the win for the ladies. She got her revenge from yesterday. Nice job, Seychelle. Congratulations. SIC team rider, Black Project team rider. Got to give a shout out to those sponsors. Campbell Carter and his Infinity rode the Ever Ready today. So great job. I see some more sit downs coming, but I also see on the horizon coming in looks like Tristan Gregory and Maddie LeBlanc. So this is going to be your 6th place male and 2nd place female coming in now. They've made the buoy turn. They're working their way up. I'm calling Tristan because of his board, so I'm pretty sure it's Tristan. Yeah, it's Tristan for sure. Yeah, so there's Tristan. He's going to round out. He's going to get in 6th position. And we got our first OC1 finisher in the endurance race. If we can get a name, that'd be great. David. Great job, David. And we got a tandem surf ski coming in. Look at that beautiful cadence with these ladies right here. That beautiful boat. Great job, girls. All right. What a great performance. And if we pan back out, there's Maddie LeBlanc coming in, 2nd place female. Let's make sure she hears it when she comes in. Maddie LeBlanc all the way from Canada as well. So we have 2 Canadian paddlers on the podium, both in the male and female division. Great job, Maddie LeBlanc. Tristan Gregory rounding out 6th position for the males. Top 5 in the open division. Great job, Tristan. Let's hear for these guys. All right. Good job, Maddie LeBlanc. All right. Good job, Tristan. Way to finish strong on that beautiful Fanatic strike all the way from the panhandle of Florida. That's like a whole nother country out there, so that's a long way to travel. All right, great job, man. What do you think, Kat? I know I've been hogging the mic, but I get excited with this stuff.
It's amazing, and I'm glad you're hogging the mic because you know everybody.
Oh, that was fun to watch. Obviously, I'm excited being the owner of Flying Fish and having that result for the men's, but oh, man.
We have a lot more people streaming in. I can see them out there from the 10K and the endurance race.
Yeah, we're going to try to get you some more paddlers, some more names here. I wish I had a start list with me with some numbers. That would be very helpful.
Is it on live heats?
Maybe we can, not live heats, but maybe on Paddle Guru. Let's see. Is there anybody that can tell us if we can get a start list with some numbers? If it's possible, great. If not, no worries. But it'd be love to get some shout outs here. I do recognize this guy coming in. This is Eric Carter. So he's going to be taking 2nd in the 50 plus. This is Campbell's dad, also a really strong paddler. Been paddling for many, many years. Eric Carter, come on, bud. Finish strong. I know you hear me, man. I know you hear me. Him and Billy Mack were battling it out for a lot of the race, but it looks like Eric was able to pull away. I see Billy on the horizon a couple 100 meters back, but we're going to tip our hats right now to Eric Carter. Yeah, Eric, great job. Come inside this orange buoy. Get your time registered. Second place in the 50 plus. Eric Carter.
Which one do we want?
We want. All right. I think we might even have a 5K finisher coming in. She's on a rec-style paddle board, so she's going to finish strong now. As comes Billy Mack. Billy's going to finish strong. He's going to be officially in that third position for the men's 50 plus, making the podium. Great job, Billy. I believe that's Billy. Or am I wrong the whole time?
Viewers can find.
I am wrong. That is not Billy. Terry Smith, same color board the entire race. Terry Smith, guys, I apologize. Terry Smith in third. 50 plus, Terry? Yes, 50 plus podium right there. Here comes Paul Pianowski. Come on, Paul. Finish strong in the 7th position for the open division. Good job, Paul.
Viewers at home can find out scores and start lists on webscorer.com/Lowcountry Paddlefest.
Yeah, webscorer.com/Lowcountry Paddlefest. You can follow the results there. I feel terrible now. The whole time I was calling him Billy Mack. Same color board, so my apologies there. Yeah, man, I feel terrible about that, but that was number 122. No, it wasn't. Who was what number? There you go. That was Terry Smith again, finishing third in the 50 plus men's. So, and it looks like my prediction early was correct because I'm pretty confident coming in now on her flying fish is Meredith Stewart from Costa Rica and Maine. She's kind of lives in both places. I think she prefers Costa Rica though. But this, I'm pretty confident, is Meredith Smith, if we can get her on screen. Meredith Stewart, sorry, yes, Meredith Stewart. I don't know why I just said Smith. Meredith Stewart, wrapping up your podium for the women's in third place. Great job. A couple years ago, I mixed her up with Seychelles for like half the race because they were on the same board. Great job, Meredith. Third place women's. Let her hear ya. Great job, Meredith. Making that podium. I see Mike Hill coming in now in your open division. Mike is going to round out, I'm thinking, the 8th position for the open men's. I don't know how close he's getting to 50 plus, but right now he's battling the young guys. 2 more years? 1 more year, he said. All right, great job, Mike. Caitlin Chen, I see her coming in now. 4th position for the women's. Great job, Caitlin Chen. She was 2nd yesterday in your sprint competition. 4th today in the women's distance. Looking strong. Doesn't even look winded. Oh, she's winded. And guess who we have following Caitlin? Billy Mack, finally. Crossing the finish line. I called Terry Smith, Billy Mack, the whole race on live screen because I couldn't tell the board, but Great job, Billy. That's going to put you in the 4th position. 50 plus. Great job. We have seen some exciting racing here today. I'd love to be a fly on the wall back there with those guys chatting about the race and talking about what happened and shook out and all that stuff. We went away for like a short time, and then when we came back, that group of 6 was just in groups of 2. You know, it was just amazing. We have no idea what happened, but we're going to get the story later. What do you think, Kat?
I think it's amazing. They were all doing so well and still did so well. But yes, how did they separate? What happened?
Yeah, I can't wait to hear. I don't know. Maybe we can get Jake on the mic at some point before the broadcast is over, and he can tell us a little bit about his race. But something definitely shook out. We know that. The 6 were working together, side drafting, whatever you want. You know, it was a mix-up. But at some point, Jake and Steve made their move, and it paid off for those guys finishing 1st and 2nd. So, all right, we have crossing the line, I believe, a 5K finisher. Great job. And then I see Ed Pierce. Here comes Ed Pierce finishing strong on his custom-built catamaran board. Great job, Ed. Rob Moran, you're not to the finish line yet, buddy. Here comes Rob from Wrightsville Beach. Rob runs an event up there in November. We're going to maybe see if we can give him some love, get some people to come out to that race. It's November in Hilton Head. It's on Paddle Guru, right? All right, it's on Paddle Guru. What's the event called again? Carolina Pro-Am. So it's a SUP-surf contest and ocean paddleboard race. 2 days of racing, Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. You got to come check it out. We have a surf ski competitor finishing from the endurance race. Great job on that surf ski. Number 101, great job.
101 on endurance? I don't know what is.
10K. Greg Crane, great job, Greg. All right, outrigger, OC1, finishing strong. I believe this is Christopher. He sprinted yesterday, great job. So he's on the endurance list, so there's 2 lists. So
okay.
Yeah, that's the hard part. All right, outrigger 2, OC2. Mixed division. Great job, finishing strong from the endurance race. Some more 5K competitors finishing strong. Come on, you've got this. And another surf ski sneaking in, number 8. Great job. All right, coming in on the stand-up paddleboard is Hung Young Boo. Great job. On screen, we see the outriggers, OC6 teams coming in. The OC6 teams are making their final approach to that buoy, so we're going to start seeing the Charleston OC6 clubs coming in strong. Looks like it was the blue boat.
For the OC6?
OC6, yeah, I believe it's the Club of Charleston. We just had Sue Butler finish. Great job, Sue. Ruth Ann Steen. That's some of your 50-plus women competitors, so we know that that's probably your podium there. Christina Moros coming in, also in that division, battling with Lindsay Tilton. Great job. Alice Batson sneaking in on the inside of the dock. I didn't get a chance to see Alice. Great job, Alice. Jackie Gover coming in strong. She had some great sprint performances yesterday. Great job, Jackie. There's a good look at Jackie on the screen. All right, there's the overhead view of the Outrigger 6, the OC6 team.
You know, we have Seychelle right here behind us. Maybe she can tell us what happened in the shake-up.
Absolutely. Let's get Seychelle on the mic. Let's hear what happened. You had an incredibly smart race. I loved it, as always.
Thanks, John.
And let's hear what happened, because you were in that mix with the 6. So what happened? We can sit down.
We can sit down.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I'm tired. It was great. I mean, we had a fun start. There was like a flying V of 6 of us, and I was on the outside of Miller, right where I wanted to be. Super comfy. We're talking on the mic, bud. You want to say hi? So I was outside of Miller on the edge of the flying V, and just, I don't really know what's going on in their head, but I was just thinking, hang with the guys as long as I can, and I didn't know Maddie was with us for a little bit, I think. I don't know when she fell off, but I knew if I could just get a gap on her, I could relax. But I tried to, I'm racing, so I tried to stay with the guys as long as I could. What happened, we were all still together past the first buoy, and then on the way back, Campbell fell in.
Oh.
And when Campbell fell, it was Jake, Miller, Campbell, Cameron, me, Blake, all in a line at that point. Okay. So Campbell fell in, Jake and Miller got away. Cam and I started to sprint after them. Thankfully, he slowed down because I didn't have it in me. So I stayed with him for a little bit longer, and then you can say something. And then eventually Campbell and Blake reeled us in. I don't remember at what point that is.
We were able to pick up the race at that point.
Yeah.
What happened was we had you guys in the flying V. Maddie was trying to stay on the back. She kind of stayed in line with Steve for a while, a couple board lengths back. Then she dropped over to your draft, and I called on the commentary.
Yeah.
I said if she doesn't close the gap on you at that point, you were going to get pulled away by the guys, and that's exactly what you did. Super smart race by you. First of all, you have to be able to stay there. Like Jake, Steve, Campbell, those guys, they're incredibly strong. So it's amazing job by you to get up there and be able to hang with those boys and pull away. When we came back, it was broken up into packs of 2 at that point. So we saw, we had Jake and Steve out front, and then it was me
and Cam.
You and Cam.
Yeah, so that was when Campbell fell. That was what shook it up.
Yeah. So, well, it's good to know. Now we know. We're gonna have to talk to that young lad and get his story, but. Anything can happen in racing, and
sometimes you fall in.
Yeah, sometimes you fall in. Seychelles well aware of that yesterday. So
happens to the best of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations. You definitely earned it.
It was hot. It was so hot.
Yeah.
And it was almost 6.9 miles.
Okay.
So that last mile, we were all like, oh, you could tell everybody was just dying.
You could see it in everybody's faces. The cadences were pretty slow at that point, but congratulations. You did an amazing job.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the awesome commentary. Thank you for the awesome live stream. Thanks, everybody, for coming out and watching everybody on the live. Woohoo.
It's awesome. Congratulations. We got some words. Go for it. Nope. Aww. A little camera shy here. We were going to try to get some words from Seychelles Sun, but all right, guys. Well, back to the action. Here's your Outrigger 6 coming in on screen.
What do you think about paddleboarding?
Nope.
Nope, not happening.
Too camera shy. All right, there's a good shot of the green Outrigger. Both of these Outrigger 6s are from the Charleston Club, we were told, so they're probably very familiar paddling with each other. We'll see when it gets closer. It might be like one mixed boat, one female boat, or 2 mixed boats. We'll have to see. But in OC6 racing, you'll have all male boats, all female boats, and then you'll have a mixed division. So we'll see how that shakes out. Let's see, we have some more competitors coming in now. Sorry if we missed anybody that came in during that interview, but we had to hear from Seychelles and find out what shook out there. So we were told that Campbell Carter fell in the draft train, so the saga continues. All right, coming in now. I recognize local Bluffton girl, Nia Lee. And on a beautiful bark board, number, oh shoot, I can't read her number. 136? 136, that's Karen. Okay, yep, didn't recognize Karen. There you go. Good job, ladies. All right, are we going to go to a commercial break, or what's the plan? Okay. Oh, that's right. OC6 coming in now. There's a great shot of the OC6. Looks like a mixed boat from what I'm seeing there. So what you have there is you have, Jake. We're going to watch this. Jake, we're going to get you on the mic here in about 2 seconds. If you don't mind, we're going to watch this OC6 boat come in and then maybe just ask you a couple questions. You can tell us a little bit what shook up, see if you knew what happened. Or... All right. Right now we have this OC6 on screen. Stick with us here. We're going to have Jake Portwood any minute. And Campbell's on here. Oh, boy, Campbell. Campbell, love you, young man. But we're going to hear the story in a minute. Let's watch this OC6 team come in. Let them hear you guys. All the way from Charleston.
Good job.
We've got a mixed boat. And the first female OC1 just came in. I'm sorry if I missed that. Who was it? All right, there's your outrigger 6. I believe that might have been Jessica.
Racers, we just need to make an announcement. Please do not take your boats out through the marsh. We have oysters exposed and we don't want to damage anything. All boats must exit from the dock.
All right, guys. All boats exit from the dock. You heard it. Let's do it. All right, right now we have Jake Portwood here with us and Campbell Carter. Man, we might as well get Miller in the mix. So Miller's here as well. We're going to hear from these guys what shook out on the course. We heard from Seychelles. We're going to hear from our winner, Jake Portwood, first. What do you think, Jake? How did it play out there?
Hey, what's up, John? Thanks for the commentary. We heard you the whole time through the Ohana boat and when we got close to this inside buoy. But yeah, we had a pretty mild start. It seemed like nobody wanted to jump up front and pull for the first mile or so. So we were all in like a 5 or 6 wide draft train, side drafting, and a couple people kind of in the back and jockeying for position. But it wasn't until like, I'd say a mile and a half in where we kind of started falling into a train. I believe Campbell got behind me, and then it lined up everybody. We went around that first buoy.
Yeah, it looked like it was you and Miller and Campbell, in the front, and then Cameron and Seychelles and Blake were on the mix too.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess we might as well ask this young man, Campbell, what happened? Do you know what made you fall? Were you trying to foot steer and you made just a mistake, or maybe it was a little lack of focus? What happened? Give us a little lowdown. On the screen, we have a beautiful shot of that outrigger OC6 team, also from Charleston, coming in. So great job. Looks like another mixed boat, though. No, is it all? No, there's your mixed boat. Yep, so the steer. So anyway, guys, let's hear it from Campbell. How did it shake out for you out there?
Honestly, John, I don't really know. 1 second I was standing on my board, next second I was on the front of my board, and I was in the water. So I think I just hit some weight coming off one of the boats right against the dock, whatever we were next to.
Okay.
And it just bumped me the wrong way, and I just went right over the rail.
And that's hard to come back from. I mean, your heart rate spikes when you fall.
It does.
And then you obviously have to fight your way back after you get back on your board. So how narrow is your board today? Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you rode?
Yeah, so I'm on a 14 by 21 Everready. It's honestly pretty stable, but it's a really it's perfect board for these conditions. Really, I don't know why I fell.
Yeah. Well, it happens. We talked about in the broadcast, anything can happen out there. Nobody wants to see anyone fall. Bummed for you that happened, but you fought to the end with Cam, and you didn't give up. So that was the big thing. So, well, congratulations, you guys. Let's hear from our. Oh, did he walk away? I thought he was behind me. Miller walked away on me. I was going to hear from our 50-plus winner and second overall. Yeah, so Miller hung on. He probably owes you a beer for pulling him, huh? But anyway, congratulations to these guys. We're going to get back here to this broadcast. We got some more paddlers coming in now.
His like dirty water was smacking your nose, and you kept getting pushed into the dock.
All right. Oh, yeah, rounding the buoy. I see a prone paddler. Is that our first prone coming in? All right, we have a outrigger OC1 coming in here as well. So we've had a few boats come in while we missed the interview. Mike from outside Hilton Head. And we got another outrigger here coming in. Let him hear ya. He wins the coolest hat award for sure. Something's telling me he might be Irish. All right. Coming to your finish line now. I recognize her and the boy. This is Karen Summerfield. Nice job, Karen. Finishing the 10K. All right, rounding the buoy on the outside, I see another prone paddler. So here's our two prone guys coming in. Okay. We got notification. The second prone paddler is Brian Kalaman. Not sure I have an ID on the first prone guy. Surf ski paddler finishing strong. Congratulations, great job. Oh my gosh. I was just hand delivered an ice cold beer. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Island Rec Center, for everything you've done. I think we've had a good broadcast. I didn't think it would, I was nervous, to be honest with you. I didn't know if we could talk for 3 hours, or I talked for 2 hours and 58 minutes. And
You still have another hour to go.
Prone Peter. I think I'm muted. All right, I think coming in on prone is Peter. Great job, Peter. Fernandina Beach, Florida. Great job, Peter. Way to dig hard. That is not an easy sport, guys. I'm sorry. You have to be a special kind of crazy to do that, especially for 10K. Great job, Peter. Coming in right behind Peter's an outrigger, OC1. Coming in strong.
We've got a party going on up top. We've got food from Bad Biscuit, as well as baked goods from Purple Cow, as well as local brewery Lincoln and South serving up beer. We've also got kids' activities, bouncy houses, a climbing wall, and some of our local sponsors and in-kind sponsors as well, setting up tents and talking about their goods and services.
Yeah, that's amazing. The beer is very good. I can vouch for that right now. There's our second prone paddler, Brian Kalaman. Endurance racing. Oh, yes. We should talk about Chattajack briefly here. It's a large event coming up. It's probably the largest paddle event in the U.S., I can say that. And Chattajack's coming up at the end of October in Chattanooga, Tennessee. If you haven't signed up yet, too bad. You can't sign up anymore. They open sign-ups. I believe it's on May 1st or May 30th, one of the two. I'm confused. But if you're not there at midnight, ready to sign up, you're not getting signed up. That's how quick it goes. And I believe it's like 400 paddlers. So anyway, hope to see a lot of people at Chattajack.
As I
Brian's
said,
finishing strong now. There's a great shot of Brian.
Chattajack is one of the races that I've mostly heard of, other than this one, and I've heard about how serious it is to register early.
Yeah, Chattajack, just like this event, a lot of the success of the event comes from the race director. So we got to give John Batson a huge thank you for the work he does, him and his crew, because really the more successful races always come from a successful race director.
650 people in 12 minutes.
650 people in 12 minutes for Chattajack. So at midnight, yeah, exactly. Julie Veal crossing the finish line. Way to go, Julie. In our 60-plus division. And this is Karen coming in, I believe. Great job, guys, girls.
If there's a gap in people coming in, we can run that commercial now.
Yeah, there's a pretty big gap right now.
So we will go into a commercial so you guys can check out our sponsors.
Absolutely. Thanks for checking in.
Welcome to Paddlefest, a celebration of paddling, play, and community out on the water. This event wouldn't be possible without the amazing support of our sponsors and partners. We would like to honor our beneficiaries, the Outside Foundation and the Island Recreation Center, whose important work inspires us and will receive the proceeds from this event. We also thank our hosts, the dedicated team who charted the course and brought Paddlefest to life. Dr. John Batson, Spine and Sports Medicine, the Outside Foundation, the Island Recreation Center, the Town of Hilton Head, and Outside Brands. We're grateful to our financial sponsors, whose generous support provides the strong current that keeps this event moving forward. 3T MRI Belfair, Benchmark Physical Therapy, Coastal States Bank, Elite Physical Therapy, the Lowcountry Group with England Volkers Real Estate Hilton Head, Hilton Head Properties, Neurosurgical and Spine Institute, Optum Orthopedic, OsteoStrong, Ted Neely, The Boathouse, The Greenery, The Zone, Boss Orthopedics, the family of Peter Viro, Hilton Head Properties Realty and Rentals, Herman and Davis Properties, Collins Group Realty, and Signature Catering. And we are incredibly grateful to our in-kind sponsors, who shared their services, skills, and gifts to make this day unforgettable. Bluffton Paddle Club, Dragon Boat of Beaufort, USA Stand-Up Paddleboard, Hilton Head Island Coffee Roasters, Sea Pines Resort, Rollers Wine and Spirits, Outside Brands, Iron Fish Art, Sweet Pea Fishing, Julie Jones Art, The Surge Group, Benny's Coastal Kitchen, Hilton Head Running Company, Flying Fish Board Company, and Green Earth Off-Grid Audio. Our sponsors make it possible for everyone to get out on the water and paddle and play. We're building community, making water sports more accessible, and having a great time together. Enjoy Paddlefest!
Olukai shoes bring the comfort of walking barefoot on wet sand to any journey. Because we don't travel to go further, we travel to get closer. And no matter how far we go, we can always bring the aloha with us. Any moment can feel like you're stepping into the spirit of Hawaii. Say aloha to Olukai. Anywhere comfort, anywhere aloha.
At Outside, it's our deep connection to the Lowcountry and our passion for sharing it with others that makes us the area's oldest and largest curator of fun and adventure. We offer more than just tours. We create personalized, immersive experiences led by expert guides who know these waters and landscapes inside and out. Whether it's a quiet paddle through the salt marsh, a sail at sunset, a private charter to a hidden island, or a historical e-bike tour, every adventure is crafted to inspire, educate, and connect.
With 3 Lowcountry locations, the Outside Store is a curated specialty retail hub for both gear and experiences, blending a welcoming, coastal-inspired atmosphere with everything you need to explore the region and beyond. Inside, you'll find a carefully selected mix of high-quality outdoor apparel, performance gear, accessories, and lifestyle goods that reflect the Lowcountry's relaxed yet adventurous spirit.
Visit Outside online. Call our dedicated reservations line.
Or stop by one of our 3 retail store locations today.
Second, separate champions from challengers. One board stands above the rest. At Flying Fish Board Company, we craft custom paddle boards for athletes who go beyond the ordinary. The new Freedom Race board is the result of countless hours pushing the limits. From calm lakes to stormy seas, it doesn't just adapt, it excels. This is the board that transforms good racers into champions. The Flying Fish Freedom, crafted by paddlers for paddlers. Feel the freedom and design your board at flyingfishboardco.com today. When second, separate champions from challengers.
But she's feeling like a million while I'm feeling low. That's the hardest part of living with yourself. When I always hoping to be somebody else. Put up a big fight, but I'm against myself. Can't be the only one that needs help.
We just have endurance racers coming in now. They're all
almost done. We're good?
Racers, please, one more announcement. Do not try to offload from the marsh grass. All the oysters are becoming exposed and you will damage your vessels. All exits at the dock, please.
Looks like we have the Ohana docking back at the boat. Hope those guys had a good experience. Wave to everybody on the Ohana. Was there a keg on that boat? Do we know?
I know they had a few cases of champagne.
Okay. We got some champagne on the boat, so. All right, we still have some outrigger OC1s coming in from your endurance race. $11 miles. 11 miles. Let's hear it for her. Great job.
The endurance race was circumnavigating Pinckney Island, which is a local wildlife refuge. Excellent place to go biking, hiking, paddling, and see all kinds of our local wildlife. It's gorgeous over there.
Yeah, that's very cool. Are there tour boats to it, or are you supposed to stay off the island? It's protected?
No, you can drive onto the island. There's
Okay.
a parking area, and then you can walk or bike.
Oh, nice. Very awesome to have access to some of nature like that. Is there anything else? I mean, there might be some people checking in now that weren't with us earlier. Maybe you can give us another breakdown of the Island Rec Center and their work with the Outside Hilton Head Foundation and all that stuff. So can you give us another breakdown?
Yeah, so the beneficiaries of today's event is the Island Recreation Center, which is a local nonprofit rec center here. We offer everything from outdoor recreation. We have a swimming pool. We have a gym. We have a sports division. We have a kids care facility ranging from really youngins to summer camps and then after school programs. And we love being a part of the community. We have a huge events organization. We do all kinds of festivals throughout the year, as well as weekly events from concerts to movies in the park and more. And it's a great facility. So if anybody who lives on Hilton Head has not checked out the Island Recreation Center, you definitely should, because it's the place to be.
Is there a social media or a website people should check out?
Yeah, it is islandreccenter.org. And you can also find us on Instagram or Facebook with Island Rec Center.
All right, well, give those guys a check out and a shout out and all the good stuff. We have a few more outriggers coming in now. Again, this has been an 11-mile race for these guys and girls. Yeah, I think it's been a great event. I can't give John Badson enough credit. I've attended a lot of events over the past, I started racing in 2010, so 15 years. And really this is, and I'm not just biasly saying this is my favorite event. It really is. I enjoy going to Chattajack, and it's an incredibly run event. But for just like a grassroots primary paddleboard event, it's really tough to beat the Lowcountry Paddlefest. So huge shout out to John, Mike Overton at the outside shop, and just everybody, you know. Jake Babson, you did a great job again. So anyway, we got a few more paddlers coming in, and then we're going to probably, I would imagine, tune out here. This is Mr. David Rush. Good friend of mine for many, many years. Great job, David. Hails out of Florida. Says he's too old for his crap. David, great job, man. We're all Nathan Champion. How did it go out there, bud? I'm sorry I missed you coming in.
It's all right. You're interviewing, say shit.
Oh, man.
It was tough.
Nathan Champion, great job. On the screen, we see Jennifer Kessler, that brand new, beautiful OC1. Johnny Puakea. Jennifer is from Charlotte, North Carolina. She's finishing strong, 11K. Let her hear ya. Great job, Jennifer. Ah, man. Can you give me a minute?
Yeah, I'm not going to see you again.
Oh, okay.
All right, so thank you.
Where do you want me to leave the board?
John, we'll talk to John. Okay.
So those that are watching, you can come to the Rowing and Sailing Center and either rent or book stand-up paddleboard or kayak tours through the Island Rec Center. And you can find that on our website at islandreccenter.org. And you can have a chance to paddle these same waters that everybody is paddling today.
Do you know is it written on there? Or?
No, the volume on that I think is 313. So you're fine. Yeah, dude, you're gonna love it. All right, thank you. Thanks.
It looks like our dragon boat is getting ready to head over for our public event where our kids paddle challenge and the public can paddle a dragon boat. So stick around for that awesome activity.
Where should people meet if they want to check out the is it going to be here at this dock?
Yep, just come on down to the dock.
Just come on down to the dock and check out the dragon boat. Man, this is great. It's been so much fun, Kat. I really appreciate it. Your company's been spectacular. We've had some great racing as we have our last few paddlers out in the water. Yeah, it's just been an amazing event in general. And I think the number one thing you guys can do out there is just tell your friends, really share the stoke, get them to come out here, even if it's for the 100-meter sprint race or whatever. We should probably talk about that too, because tomorrow, this is a 3-day event. Tomorrow at the Sea Pines Beach Club, there's going to be a technical race. Jake Portwood is going to, no, Jake is not doing the technical race. So
That's good for the other competitors.
It's good for the other competitors, yeah. It's going to give somebody else a chance to win. Jake's been battling like an Achilles ankle injury, and he can't run. So doesn't want to set himself back by running. So Jake's not going to race tomorrow. It's going to give somebody else an opportunity. But tomorrow there will be a technical event at Sea Pines Beach. I hope everybody can make it out there and watch the event. It's a lot of fun to watch. I don't think there's going to be much in the wave department tomorrow. It's been really calm, but I think these guys will be happy about that. We've had some years with some really playful waves, but tomorrow's tech event. Make sure you come check it out. There's a good look at the dragon boat on screen.
I believe that this is the Bluffton Paddle Club's dragon boat. We also have the dragon boat from Beaufort, a dragon boat as well.
Yeah, so if you're a paddler and you live in a different area than Bluffton or Hilton Head, look up in your local community, because I would guarantee you not too far away, if there's water, there's going to be a dragon boat club. So, give it a check out, see what you can find, and yeah, just it's a great activity, great team building, like we talked about earlier. I've got to give a shout out to this Lincoln South Brewing Company because this beer is really good. So thank you again to Lincoln South and everything they've done for the event. Flying Fish Board Co. Amazing job by those guys. Anyway.
Thank you to Olukai for being our main
Olukai.
host.
Crap, man, how can we forget Olukai? They've been my favorite sandals forever. So, but yeah, just that they're stepping up in general. They also sponsored an event down in Jupiter recently, paddle event. So to see companies like Olukai step up and support our industry, it's very important that us as paddlers support their brand, because they're putting up some money and some time and effort to grow our sport and sponsor our sports. We need to definitely make sure we return the love. Go buy yourself a pair of Olukai sandals. Outside Hilton Head has a beautiful rack of them on the shelf. I was eyeballing a bunch of them last night. I'm going to make sure I pick up a pair tonight. But make sure you get your Olukai sandals and support Olukai for everything they do for stand-up paddleboarding. We really appreciate them.
It looks like all of our racers are really fortunate. We are finally reaching the area of our low tide where our oyster beds are becoming exposed. So almost all the paddlers are off the water, taking out that little bit of hazard that was out there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much longer we're going to stay on live or not, but I do know that there's one paddler still out there. His name's Mike Clark. I see him rounding the buoy now. I just give Mike a quick shout out because, honestly, he's not the fastest paddler in the world, obviously. Who cares? But he's traveled all the way from South Florida to be here, and he just loves the sport, loves the community. So you got to give Mike some love for sure. When we see him cross this finish line, I want to give him the biggest shout out if we can, because really that's what our sport's all about. There's always going to be someone coming in at the end. There's a first place and there's a last place every single race. So got to make sure we give Mike some love. And I don't know I'm assuming he may be the last paddler out there, but again, traveled all the way to from Florida to be here, and pretty cool. So we'll make sure we give him some love. Hopefully we can stay live here till he gets in.
So we were talking about oysters earlier with Gene Frew. And one of the amazing things, when you all look at our water here, it looks really dark in color. But one oyster can filter up to 50 gallons of water every single day. And
Wow.
we have hundreds of thousands of oysters out here. And even though you can't see through the water, it's some of the cleanest water in the entire world thanks to these little filter feeders that we have. And
Yeah.
it's super important to protect them and ensure their livelihood in this ecosystem.
Yeah, that's an amazing stat. I didn't realize that, but yeah, they definitely clean the water. And again, when the water's not crystal clear, like you may see in the Bahamas or different areas like that, it really doesn't mean the water's dirty. Most of what you're seeing are tannins in the water from the different vegetation and trees and the bottom. Every state like South Florida is all limestone rock, right? So if the water's on limestone rock, it's not going to dilute into the water. It's going to be crystal clear. So this bottom is more of a muddy type bottom, and it plays a huge role for some of the wildlife and fish. The spoonbills and the redfish and the trout, and without that kind of bottom and without that kind of ecosystem, they wouldn't survive. So plays a huge role in the beauty of Hilton Head. It's a gorgeous area. Again, make sure you tell your friends, spend some time out here. Last time I visited John and Alice, they took me on a bike ride through the Sea Pines neighborhood, and I was blown away with just the beauty and the history of that neighborhood. It was incredible. So if you get a chance, really get to know Hilton Head a little bit, get to know the area, get to know the island, get to know nature. It really is a gem in the United States, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina.
We have history here that dates back all the way to the Native Americans and their Indian shell middens. We have Revolutionary War sites and Civil War sites throughout history. And then, of course, our Gullah culture is specific and unique to the South Carolina Lowcountry and Georgia. Upon all of that, in the development of Hilton Head, everything here was done in a way to preserve nature and preserve that history and represent it in the best way possible. So one of the funny things that I hear from people is they come from other areas and they're like, oh, there's no street lights and it's very dark and everything's colored by trees. I can't find where I need to go. And that's part of the beauty of this area because we're trying to keep it as natural as possible.
Yeah, I've noticed that quite a bit actually just driving around town. You know, coming from South Florida where unfortunately development has got out of control, and the idea of development there is like, let's just clear out every single tree on this land and build houses and condos, and then we'll replant some trees. Well, personally, that just crushes me as a Florida guy. But you notice here a lot of the neighborhoods and even shopping plazas are built around nature. You know, they leave the trees. We've got a visitor here, Mike Overton. We're going to get him on the mic. Mike, let's hear a little bit about outside Hilton Head and the event in general and the role you guys play.
You know, well, I just heard Kat talking. So I will kind of add on to what she was saying. You know, this event is for the Outside Foundation, which has a dual mission, getting kids outside and local environmental preservation and protection. And like she was talking about, we just have so much gratitude for the quality of our environment. And so the racers that paddled out here today, if they hadn't been here before, they certainly got immersed in the salt marsh ecosystem, which is just what the lifeblood of this entire place and the Lowcountry, and why it's one of the most pristine water basins in the country. And so that's really what it is, and the benefit to do more to protect and preserve that environment is what this is all about.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about like the summer camps and the different ways you guys get the kids on the water. Is it a summertime program, or like just if somebody's listening or watching and they're local and they have kids, what's the best way for them to contact you or be part of the program?
Well, you know, we have a commercial side, Outside Brands. We're probably, by a lot of metrics, the largest guide service outfitter in the Southeast. So all kinds of kayaking and paddleboarding and boating, and there's all kinds of way to come out, just outsidehiltonhead.com. But then the Outside Foundation, on the side of getting kids outside for that mission, the most impactful thing the foundation's done is a program called Kids in Kayaks, where now every 7th grade public school science class in the county has a full outdoor program.
Okay, that's great to know. Okay, so now I realize it's run through the school system during the school year. So it's a field trip. It's like when I grew up, we had the Environmental Study Center in Jensen Beach, Florida, and every year they would take the kids to the Environmental Study Center. We would do some seining and different things, and honestly, that shaped me as a man. You know, it got me into fishing, it got me into paddleboarding, surfing, all because of going to that camp. So it definitely impacts these kids, whether you realize it or not. So that's amazing to hear.
You know, because our commercial side deals mostly with visitors, and the average visitor to Hilton Head of the Lowcountry has a much greater chance, a child, of going into a kayak than a local does. And so the foundation funds any child that's on financial aid, which is 60% of the 7th grade children in Beaufort County. And so it's been a remarkable program, and as you said, it really kind of seeds those children for really the character and the love of the outdoors and everything else we know that the outdoors does, and hopefully gets them away from what most of the kids are doing now and spending most of their time in front of a screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that puts a whole nother dynamic on the event, you know, just knowing that it's underprivileged kids. It's just kids that may come from families that just can't afford a kayak or, you know, be able to get on the water. So, having the ability for every kid, regardless of economic status, to get on the water and experience this beautiful environment that you have here on Hilton Head. So everybody out here should pat themselves on the back, because every single one of you guys out here is helping reach that dream and goal for all these young kids, and for Mike and the Outside Foundation. So amazing work.
Yeah,
Man,
and if
thank
there's
you.
anybody local, you know, come on down. Kids are heading out here soon. even local kids and kids from the Boys and Girls Club will have a little dragon boat race with the kids.
Yeah, and this broadcast is live right now on the Outside Foundation YouTube, and they have there's a beautiful shot there on screen of some dolphins in the lagoon playing here. That's a great shot right there. Look at the dolphin. Yeah, so everyone here should be super proud of themselves, pat themselves on the back, because you guys all made an impact in some child's life. And again, huge thank you to John Batson, Mike Overton, everyone involved. Let's give Mike Clark a cheer. Come on, Mike. Finish strong, buddy. There you go, Mike. All right, everybody. Let's give him a big round of applause as he finishes strong. Anyway, what do you think, Kat?
I think it's awesome. He's got those Atlantic bottlenose dolphin bringing him home and in this amazing race for today.
Yeah, picture perfect finish. There's Mike on screen, all the way from Florida. Just loves the sport. And give him some love. Thanks a lot, Mike. Great job, man. You're helping a bunch of kids get on the water with some kayaks. So great job. All right, this might round out our broadcast. What do you think?
Yeah, but everybody stick around. We have those great kids events coming up. Grab some food from Bad Biscuit or a drink from Lincoln and South and enjoy the rest of the afternoon with us. We're going to be here till 4 o'clock.
All right, everybody stick around, please. We're going to have the award ceremony at some point this afternoon, probably 1, 2 o'clock. Enjoy some of the festivities, demo some boards, drink some beer, check out the local vendors. And thank you so much, everybody. We're signing off. We appreciate everybody. Congratulations, all the racers. We're out.
Welcome to Paddlefest, a celebration of paddling, play, and community out on the water. This event wouldn't be possible without the amazing support of our sponsors and partners. We would like to honor our beneficiaries, the Outside Foundation and the Island Recreation Center, whose important work inspires us and will receive the proceeds from this event. We also thank our host, the dedicated team who charted the course and brought Paddlefest to life. Dr. John Batson, Spine and Sports Medicine, the Outside Foundation, the Island Recreation Center, the Town of Hilton Head, and Outside Brands. We're grateful to our financial sponsors, whose generous support provides the strong current that keeps this event moving forward. 3T MRI Belfair, Benchmark Physical Therapy, Coastal States Bank, Elite Physical Therapy, the Lowcountry Group with England Volkers Real Estate Hilton Head, Hilton Head Properties, Neurosurgical and Spine Institute, Optum Orthopedic, OsteoStrong, Ted Neely, The Boathouse, The Greenery, The Zone, Boss Orthopedics, the family of Peter Viro, Hilton Head Properties Realty and Rentals, Herman and Davis Properties, Collins Group Realty, and Signature Catering. And we are incredibly grateful to our in-kind sponsors, who shared their services, skills, and gifts to make this day unforgettable. Bluffton Paddle Club, Dragon Boat of Beaufort, USA Stand-Up Paddleboard, Hilton Head Island Coffee Roasters, Sea Pines Resort, Rollers Wine and Spirits, Outside Brands, Iron Fish Art, Sweet Pea Fishing, Julie Jones Art, The Surge Group, Vinny's Coastal Kitchen, Hilton Head Running Company, Flying Fish Board Company, and Green Earth Off-Grid Audio. Our sponsors make it possible for everyone to get out on the water and paddle and play. We're building community, making water sports more accessible, and having a great time together. Enjoy Paddlefest!
And no matter how far we go, we can always bring the aloha with us. Any moment can feel like you're stepping into the spirit of Hawaii. Say aloha to Olukai. Anywhere comfort, anywhere aloha.
The Outside Ohana is the perfect gathering place for friends, co-workers, and families looking to have the experience of a lifetime. Let your next adventure, family gathering, or private event be one that knows no boundaries. We invite you to discover the exceptional experiences on board the Outside Ohana.
When we talk to real estate clients about their experience with Collins Group Realty, inevitably they're not just naming the one agent that they sort of dub as the person who helped their experience, they're naming multiple individuals inside the group, because that's the whole goal, is that there is consistent engagement in areas of specialization to deliver a really quality experience from A to Z.
Outside, it's our deep connection to the Lowcountry and our passion for sharing it with others that makes us the area's oldest and largest curator of fun and adventure. We offer more than just tours. We create personalized, immersive experiences led by expert guides who know these waters and landscapes inside and out. Whether it's a quiet paddle through the salt marsh, a sail at sunset, a private charter to a hidden island, or a historical e-bike tour, every adventure is crafted to inspire, educate, and connect.
With 3 Lowcountry locations, the Outside Store is a curated specialty retail hub for both gear and experiences, blending a welcoming, coastal-inspired atmosphere with everything you need to explore the region and beyond. Inside, you'll find a carefully selected mix of high-quality outdoor apparel, performance gear, accessories, and lifestyle goods that reflect the Lowcountry's relaxed yet adventurous spirit.
Visit Outside online. Call our dedicated reservations line.
Or stop by one of our 3 retail store locations today.
When second separate champions from challengers, one board stands above the rest. At Flying Fish Board Company, we craft custom paddle boards for athletes who go beyond the ordinary. The new Freedom Race board is the result of countless hours pushing the limits. From calm lakes to stormy seas, it doesn't just adapt, it excels. This is the board that transforms good racers into champions. The Flying Fish Freedom, crafted by paddlers for paddlers. Feel the freedom and design your board at flyingfishboardco.com today.
Well, it's once again going with Sea Pines, the way that it was first, that community was first developed, the rest of the island followed that lead. You just take a look at the aesthetics of the island, the atmosphere, the way that things are put together. No buildings over 5 stories tall, no neon lights, no billboard advertising. It's the quality of life is what it is.
And what do you love most about real estate?
Meeting people.
Yeah.
I actually had a background in food and beverage for quite a while, and I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy talking to people, and quite often because of that, you can find some common ground and move on from there.
And create long-standing relationships.
Yeah,
right?
very much
Thank you
so.
so much for your time.
You bet. Thank you.